What's up, y'all? It's Gillette Tea Time. Welcome back. I'm so sorry we were not with you guys on Sunday, but y'all know what it was. It was Halloween, so the girls was out in their costumes, and we was doing our big ones. I'm so sorry, but we're here now with you, and we're here to recap. Today is Wednesday, Hump Day. We wear pink on Wednesday. I have a new I'm in the forest, you guys, like a pink forest. What y'all think? It's cute or no? But no, welcome to Gillette Tea Time. I'm sorry that we were a little bit late. We had like a little small technical difficulty. We're at the beginning of this. We're like doing something new. But we have someone here tonight that I think everyone loves, everyone adores. And yeah, let's get right into it. But in the meanwhile, let me bring up my cast. Let me bring up my girls. Let me bring up the Morgan. Let me bring up the Gunna. Let me bring up the Sasha. And what's up?
Oh my god!
Of course, Morgan doesn't have on pink.
I'm so sorry. My pink was very inappropriate, so I wanted to keep it a little classy. I didn't want to be a whore all the time. I mean, Halloween was Sunday, so on Wednesdays we keep it classy a little.
I really wanted to wear pink, sis, but I'm pushing my skin tones collections and things. So I'm wearing a lot of skin tones lately as I do my pieces every week.
Oh, okay. Come on, skin tones. So you stand with the earth tones, the nudes, and all those things. What is your shirt
Love
saying
that.
tonight?
My shirt tonight is part of my kinky collection. I have a few
Oh,
kinky items. It's raw is law. Period.
Amen.
Where's period? Um, this isn't our safe sex segment. We can talk about that, but yeah, raw is law.
raw as law. We'll talk
Absolutely.
about that
That's always
later.
been my campaign.
All right, Sasha, what are you wearing tonight? I'm loving the stripes.
Well, this is from a designer from Japan, Ajua, and it's called Odd Future. And the puff jumper is back in style.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it is.
So, and I changed my hair from black to brown, put a little bit of highlights in it, a little razzle dazzle.
Always a razzle dazzle.
And I'm representing Purple Hearts tonight for all those royalties out there.
Yeah, I'm
That's
pink
right.
tonight.
I'm
I'm
living.
growler tonight.
What are you?
My cup is in the cabinet tonight.
Darling?
Well, Morgan, it seems like you had like a real bad hump day today. Like you just had a lot going on.
Listen, the hump has been humping all fucking day. You hear me? Okay? All
I'm coming
day.
with Grayson.
You know what?
What you said? What, Sasha?
I'm going to pray for her, put her in my good graces. It's good to still see.
Thank
That's all.
you, sis. Thank you. I
I miss
appreciate that.
y'all. Jada, what's up, Mama?
Jada's mic is on mute.
Yeah,
Jada,
she is
you on mute,
muted.
boo. Jada, you here with us, boo?
Well, it's great to be back with you, ladies. We missed
Yes,
a
I miss you
day. I miss
guys.
you guys so
Yes.
much.
We
It's been so
actually missed, we
long.
missed the day. It was a holiday. It was Halloween. I know some of you were out partying and doing your things and being the girls, but as you should. But sorry, we left our people. We left our tears.
We left our
Hmm.
community.
Yeah.
No, we
I'm
were
so
with the
sorry.
community.
No shade, we
We
were.
were
Right.
So
No
we
shade.
couldn't
so sad
report on the community because we were making the news itself with the
Itself
community.
with the community.
because
I'll
Hmm.
the,
take
That's
the
that.
right.
news is real.
I'll take
That's
that.
right.
It's about perception.
But speaking of news, we have a special guest host tonight.
Who's coming to join us
Yes.
tonight?
Well, I mean, everyone sees him every week. He's created like a new like social life for the New York City girls. He's made it so far. He made himself to Times Square. Like
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Love her. I love her.
I love her
If you
too.
got that bitch here, I'm gonna scream.
I
That's
love
I
her
it.
too,
love
but
her.
I ain't pull her like that yet. But no, I have the one and only, the legendary OTA Weekly himself, the Lego
That's
legend.
better than Jessica Sarah Parker
That's
first.
better,
Love
right?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Totally better, right? Hey, Lego, what's going on?
Hi.
I love when we have company.
I'm
I love we
sorry.
have company too. We love when
What
we
you
have
say?
company.
We love company
Thank
here.
you. Hold on. Let me do my thing. My shirt, Nike. My partition, the trade. My cup, OTA. Okay.
All right.
No, your cup is OTA collaboration with Burger King.
Ooh.
Corporation edition.
Wait, hold on.
See,
Hold on.
you gotta
Let me
jazz
fix
it up, nephew.
OTA.
We're gonna have it our way.
Jazz it up.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have the
She's
one and only
jazzed.
legendary Lego here with us. He brings you OTA weekly every Monday night, and every Monday night is always something different that pops off at OTA. You could be walking out with $50. You could be walking out with $200. Girls sometimes walked out with $1,500. Lego has like really done a lot for the New York socialite ballroom scene, and it's really like more to come. Like he has an academy that he's starting now with the girls. So like we'll talk more about that. But Lego, welcome here to have tea with us, and we're gonna chit it up the chat.
Thank you for having me. It's so cozy and pink.
Yeah, it's real pink up here. Some people like to wear their nudes and stuff and be raw as law, but that's cool.
Sidebar, I don't know if I was the only one, but while we were in the green room, I could have sworn that Gunna was wearing pink. It's the pink light that threw me off.
I changed the light. I did set the pink light up. See? There you go, pink light.
Pink light. All right, so we're gonna get the show.
You ate that.
We're gonna get the show kicked off, and I'm gonna get the show kicked off with paying respect and giving a big ass shout out to my girl Summer Walker. Her album is coming out this Friday. If you have not pre-ordered, if you have not thought about getting it, you should think about going ahead and getting it. Go ahead and get you a box of Kleenexes, find you a clear wall with no pictures, and just lay against it and fall down that wall as Summer sings to you. This Friday, November 5th, Summer Walker Day.
Still over it.
Still over it.
Never gonna be over it.
Okay, so that's
never started to begin with.
That's kind of okay. Oh wow. All right, so due to the duration of time that we've been doing this show, I feel that we have been like, I'm just gonna say it flat out, disrespectful. Like, I want to give not a shout out, but we want to give a moment of silence to Colin Powell, who passed away. We've been saying it numerous of times. Had it on our script, but we've been like just numerously talking and just talking that we never like paid our moment of silence to Colin Powell. So can we just have a moment of silence for Colin Powell? And I thank you. Gunna, I saw the eyes. What was that?
Niggas die every day, me. So I used to be one. Look, real quick, I'll get to the chase. I used to be one that believed that Black people who like ascend to certain titles and stuff like that, we owe them for being the first and being the image and being that. But I just don't feel that way anymore. Number one, you rose to fame in a white institution that still to this day oppresses us, and you were actually part of the oppressive policies. You actually helped and aided and abetted in the oppression of Black people. So just because you're dead and just because you were the first to do that doesn't mean I'm gonna like go and like praise you postpartum. If I wasn't giving you praise while you was alive, I don't believe in faking the funk when someone dies. There are enough people out there in the world that are gonna praise him and be happy for him. So I allow those people to, but I don't give people fake energy in death.
Okay.
But that's it.
Well, on that note, rest in peace to the Queen of Brooklyn, Zenobia.
Now that's who rest in peace to the
We're gonna get to her. We're gonna get to her. And we respect everyone's, opinions and decisions here. But at the end of the day, some people have different viewpoints of Colin Powell. So we had to give our respects to Colin Powell at that moment. So rest in peace, Colin Powell. My condolences.
To be fair, I did an eye roll. I didn't speak. I was respectful enough to be silent.
You gave like an eye roll.
Yeah, I was respectful enough to be silent. You didn't say bow your head. You just said be silent.
No shame.
Are you mad that I was bowing my head?
No. Never.
Oh. Because, I'm a respectful.
I know, totally. So, some things has happened over the weekend. Gunna went to Baltimore to the iconic Monique, Sebastian, and Marco's the Hallow Eve Massacre Ball. It was a success. I heard Baltimore is really like, like a real fab ass spot to have like balls, and they always do their thing. So, what's the recap? What it gave?
I got there. I'll say the ball started on time. I was slated to judge the ball. It was slated to have its first category at 9. I got there at 9:06. They were already on category number 8. So, yes, they went through all the categories. Balls are fun for me. It was a nice crowd. By the time they got to around the second half, that's when the girls started to really show up. All intents and purposes, it was a decent ball. Nothing really major to complain about. Same kind of stuff. Expensive drinks, no free water. But that's y'all know what I started this on the first season, the first episode, right? I'm pushing for everybody to provide 40 waters at your table.
It's real cheap. It's very, very.
It's real cheap to go to Costco and spend $10 and put 40 waters under the table.
Looking like
I can guarantee you that
Work
with the heat
OTA.
at balls and with all of that going on at balls, you would reduce a lot of the crime, a lot of the violence and stuff because people are dehydrated, they're agitated. Water shouldn't be costing them money in that venue when they just paid $500, $800, up to $2,000 for a table. We got to the categories. The categories were quite interesting. Shout out to the garçons for taking their L's the way they did because, baby, that panel was trying it on their time a lot. It was just a weird thing to watch. Yeah, so I've been around the world and So when I go to balls, I go in different capacities. This time I didn't have any of my kids walking or anything like that. So I wanted to observe the ball from a different perspective than like the father that's defending their kids, So it gives you a chance to really see it from a different perspective. So I spent a lot of the time actually watching the judging more so than actually watching everything else. I didn't need to keep up with kids and tell them when to walk and all that kind of stuff. And so it would just be interesting to see the judging. And I kind of explained it on a live I did a couple days ago, but basically, you would have the panel. It was 11 judges, which I think is excessive for a ball, especially for a ball of that size. It really wasn't large enough for me to constitute for 11 judges because you think throughout the night that means 22 judges in total. Right. That's a lot for a ball that maybe had about 250 to 300 people. But it was just interesting to see the judging. Like, people would not get chopped, and then the next person should have been chopped, but they didn't get chopped. And then a person would win the category, and then all the judges would look at each other like, how did they just win? And I'm like, bitch, y'all voted for them. That's how they won. The weirdest thing, though, was like, I know, and it happened several times, and I did kind of like a comedic sketch on my live. Like, can you imagine walking, and it's like, 1 vote for you, then it's 1 for the other house, then it's 2U, 3U, 4U, 5U, right? And by the time it gets to 4, you shrugging your shoulders, bitch. You doing your little 1, 2, because you just got it in the bag, bitch. You do that 5. Once it gets to 5, you be like, yes, bitch. You looking at your girlfriend like, girl, I just sent you. And then it goes 5-2, 5-3. By the time it gets to 5-3, you look back over your shoulder like, wait, what's going on? What? Then they get to 5-4, bitch. You turn around and you get, especially if you walk runway, then you get the runway serious arm. Like, girl, what's going on? If you're a fab bitch, you probably start doing your little pivot turns again because you're like, okay, I got a little bit to go. I might be able to, I got to get these last 2 votes. So you start doing your little 1, 2, bitch. And then she goes 5-5. Next thing you know, bitch, everybody turns into a realness walker at 5-5 because everyone put their arms on that table. They lean in, bitch, and they looking at the judge in their face like, girl, what's it gonna give, bitch? And then it goes 6-5, and girl, you just lost to your girlfriend who you thought you just slayed, bitch. That walk off be so stern. I told the girls in ballroom, I said, this is how you find out who really is your girlfriend. If you beat your girl in a tiebreaker, and she does not hug you, she does not muster up enough energy to say, bitch, but that's my girlfriend. My girlfriend just did her big one on me and come give you a hug. You are not her good Judy. You her regular girlfriend, her around the way May. And she goes to the back of the runway and then later she's like, well, girl, I was just in my head, girl, I didn't mean it. Girl, you are not her girlfriend. She does not see it for you. She has absolutely no understanding how you beat her. She might practice with you, but in her head, you're not one of them ones. You should have never beat her. That's why she didn't hug you. And that happened a couple times, but it really happened to the garçons a lot. So shout out to the garçons because bitch, they was in there. They had their effects on. They had a nice little jacket. You know, the garçons are good for a look.
Yeah,
I love the
yeah,
garçons
yeah,
for that,
yeah.
even for small balls. So they came through. They had their look. The jackets were cute. The judges panel was pretty. It was weird because I also didn't understand the judges panel either, because it was a good mixture of the girls. It wasn't even like North heavy, South heavy. It was like a mixture, and the judges. It was weird. At one point, you had parents threatening tonight. Well, I'm gonna be on the judge panel the second half, so we'll see how this turn around. And, when I hear stuff like that, I
It
start
was
thinking,
like a
"Oh,
lot of
bitch,
vendetta.
it's about to be vendetta voting and stuff like that." But all in all, it was pretty good. It ended really rapidly. There was some confusion about where parking was supposed to be. I think a couple people got towed. But yeah, it was
Did the
a
Tahoe
good,
get
decent
towed?
ball. Huh?
Did the Tahoe get towed?
Oh, the Tahoe did not get towed. The Tahoe made it back up here safely. I returned she on yesterday. Inside of her was a new duvet that just fell in my bag from the Renaissance. It feels lovely because it's getting so cold outside. And then the Tahoe is on reserve for Friday. We will be making our way down south, to Virginia.
I was literally saying the back of my head.
But no, so it was a good ball. Congratulations to the icon Monique. Congratulations to the icon Sebastian. Yeah. And congratulations to the legendary Marco. It was a good ball. I believe based on their council, it counted for of the year. All the categories were had. They even called some categories back. Regular ball shit.
That was good. Well, shout out to them. Shout out Monique. Shout out Sebastian. Shout out Marco on a successful ball. Keep doing what you do in Baltimore.
Baltimore got COVID.
And you sticking to it, right?
Sticking to it. On the way out my hotel, I saw a rat run across the street, and it looked like the rat that started the COVID pandemic.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God. Well, speaking of
no shade
back up in the
Baltimore, I do not agree with the statements being made.
Oh,
our city.
We have to hear from Baltimore.
That's fine. But you can go to my page, and actually from this past weekend, like 20 different people made posts about rats.
Well,
and I was in the harbor. I was at the Renaissance, and I still saw rats outside my room. I was confused and scared.
Well, I'm not going to disclose the location where we're staying, and but we're rats up here too. So speaking of, they brought O.J. Simpson back up in the news, and it wasn't O.J. bringing himself back up in the news. It was the one and only Caitlyn Jenner. I do have a clip, and I'm going to play, and we're going to discuss this, and let's see what it really gives. Yeah.
Obviously, he did it, and he got away with it. And at one point, he even told Nicole, "I'll kill you and get away with it because I'm O.J. Simpson." And Nicole, relayed that on to Chris at one point. And unfortunately, she was right. We were at the courthouse. We're watching what's going on in the other room. And even after the not guilty verdict, the first thing Chris turns around at me and goes, "We should have listened to Nicole. She was right from the beginning."
So what y'all thought about that?
Bitches die every day, B.
How? But your husband represented him.
Well,
he was one of his fucking lawyers.
Well, to be fair, in the court of law, everyone deserves representation. So
yes. Lako, you look a little distressed or a little.
But why would you wait?
I'm not doing this today.
Now this comes out. Like I just feel like that's weird.
Yes, I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that. If it's 5 years too late, dead it and be gone. I'm sick.
But it's just like you've had interviews. People have asked you multiple times because you are from that family, I'm sure, about the O.J. Simpson situation, and now this is your first time, talking about it. 2, what show is this?
I was about to ask that as well.
So it was a show that's on
Because I need to know the context.
It's looking like like I have marriage boot camp type teas like that.
It looks like Big Brother
Therapy type deal they're doing. I'm gonna get the actual show in just a moment. Go ahead.
It gave Fame Goes Bad TV.
That's what it's called.
Fame Goes Bad. I never really agreed with Omarosa. She's a mean girl.
We love mean girls.
We love mean girls. We love mean girls over here. Go ahead.
Yes, we do love mean girls. We do love.
She's the wrong kind of mean.
Yeah. You know, it feels like I think what Lego said. I think what everybody was saying.
Why is he still
You've
doing
had years
reality?
to discuss this, and you discussing it now just feels like opportunity for a storyline.
It does, because it's heartbreaking to hear it now. Like, why couldn't you be so frank when this was happening? Why do we wait after the fact? Oh, we should have said something. If this was your best friend, why weren't you being so frantic about this before the transition and all of that? It's like, are we going to try to use? Is she going to try to use her, identity to use the and platform to speak, for her, speak up for her, and then it's like Kris Jenner isn't saying anything.
And it just seems it's like what's the desired result from having this conversation now? Like, what are you planning to gain or retribution or what from it, right? Like if there really was an open case and they were coming to you, sure, you didn't feel safe talking about it then, so you're talking about it now. But it seems again opportunistic. Like I don't think you don't want justice for him. You're not trying to get justice for the what's her name, the Sarah Jessica Simpson.
No, Nicole.
Oh yes, some white woman. White woman die every day. Yeah, like are you trying to get like it's he's already been found not guilty. He can't go to court again for it because that's double jeopardy. I mean, even with the double jeopardy, you could have brought this up a decade. Like it's been 2 decades now, right? Like almost 3, probably.
Yeah, it's kind of old.
It's almost 3 decades. And then for you to talk about it now on a reality TV show, it's not even like you're talking about it on like a 60 Minutes or something like that, where they're really like interviewing you and digging deep into it. You're choosing to talk about it at a round table with a bunch of reality TV stars.
But you don't want to talk about your jumping into transitioning and not letting Kris Jenner know that these were your gender identity was what you were going through. You don't want to talk about the real shit. And that's the problem with the reality TV. They don't want to talk about the real shit that's really going on. They go over it, try to make it reality when it's not. That case is old. It's not about her. It's about you.
You know what's new and what's current? The fact that she opts in and out of trans identity and remains white at all times and still votes along white party lines for oppression of oppressed people.
This is Caitlyn Jenner, right?
What is it? What is it that they say? The oppressed becomes the oppressor.
Yep. But she's enjoyed, right? She's enjoyed an entire life of cisgender white male privilege with wealth, right? Not even just regular cis white male privilege, cis white wealthy male celebrity star power privilege all her life, and now she will never truly identify, in my opinion, with the marginalized trans community. She will always be a white person first and a rich white person at that. So she needs to talk about that problem instead of talking about why OJ allegedly killed or didn't kill. Because even when she said that statement, you see she didn't really provide any hardcore facts. It's all still conjure at that point.
Right.
Or conjecture. Next
what
case.
the thing about Caitlyn is I love the fact of how she is, only in the aspect that it goes to show that we're all just as normal as everyone else. Some of people in our community are bigots. Some of them are racist. Some of them are really just, they choose to be anal because of the money and or status that they have, and it's more than just being, what you are. The problem is that, when you're popular, if you decide to, like with her, she automatically became a beacon for trans women because, let's be honest, her transitioning did bring a conversation to the table. The problem was she was spearheading the conversation.
But she wasn't the first trans woman. She was the first white male to transition publicly
in the public eye.
and
Absolutely.
But not even
She's the
necessarily the first, because the
white
first was
male,
an
and she's
Army
the
war
first
vet.
guy. But she's somebody that is an icon from sports, something that's male
Right.
dominated. You know what I'm saying? And dominated
Wiz.
specifically in her thing. So it's like, yeah, of course, you know, they're going to be definitely, you know, giving more attention to that because it's a gag. Like, it's not
It's
like
a
she was a
gag,
fashion model that transition or
Mhm.
talk show host that transition. It's like, no, this is
This
somebody
is a
that beat
track
niggas.
star.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
transitioning. Like, yeah.
and it's no
I
discrimination.
mean, you right. I
towards her.
mean, to Lego's point. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sasha.
It's no hate towards her, so we don't want anybody trying to bash us in our mail talking about we're Caitlyn Jenner haters. This is a open to all discussion. So
That's me.
we love all,
OTA.
but you know it's a discussion that needs to be talked about. But we're gonna move to the next topic, baby.
Yes. I think
Nicole Brown.
Next.
we're gonna close up with this topic, but so Gunna's been saying all night, people die every day. It's a phrase. It's a phrase that comes from a movie Paid in Full, and the person that it
Killer
was
Cam.
made from. The person that the movie mimicked from Paid in Full was the one and only that Gunna, who's going to be talking about today, is a Harlem native himself. So he passed away this past weekend. And Gunna, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So can we have a moment of silence for Alberto Alpo Martinez? Moment of silence, please. All right. So so Alpo, as he was most commonly known as on the streets, was found slain in Harlem this past Sunday in his truck. He was under protective custody and trying to avoid capture, allegedly. And so he was shot 5 times. They do not know who killed him at the time. What they did know is when they arrived to the scene, they found like 20 bags of drugs leading up to the car. So they're assuming or alleging that he was storing the drugs out because he knew, once he got into the altercation, that the police would soon arrive. And he wasn't supposed to be in a public setting because he was under protective custody. There's a big issue. So there's a big thing in Harlem right now. If you go to Harlem, the sentiments are kind of like on the fence. There are some people that, look to him as like a beacon. So a lot of us know the story of like the local drug dealers that like give out turkeys for Thanksgiving. They buy the uniforms for the local sports team and stuff like that. And so they're kind of in one way beloved, but they're also selling drugs to the person's mother who they're buying the uniform for and turning her into a crackhead. So you're also hated. So it was one of those kind of, the movies like Juiced and those movies from the 90s. It's that kind of sentiment around him. And there's also a really big thing about him. He bragged. So in the 90s, so again, as Gillette said, from the movie Paid in Full, y'all remember the Rico played by Killer Cam. Shout out to my nigga Killer Cam. Niggas die every day, B. It's such a mood. It just keeps you from caring about drama. Like when they be like, oh, such and such and such and such, you be like, child, people die every day. But no, so in the 90s, when they had the big drug bust and all this in the third, he turned feds and allegedly got like maybe some 20 people arrested. So then again, that's another very polarizing thing for a community. Some people see you as a snitch and some people see you as a hero that got drugs off the street, right? So Harlem is really kind of like in a tizzy right now. They don't know, are we sad about the moment? Are we happy about the moment? What to do. So further investigation underway. I don't think they're really going to try to find the killer. I don't think that they really care at this point. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. I'm pretty sure it was a local, somebody, they say karma has no expiration date. And so I've seen in my timeline, even from the Butch Queens, because people still, even though you Butch Queens and you Vogue family, you do all that, you still have deep roots in Harlem. You still have family in Harlem. So the drugs and all that drug life and all that life from the 80s and 90s still affected people in our own community. So even in our own community, you're seeing some people be like, yes, good, he's off the streets, he's dead. And some people are like, well, damn, that's sad. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Killer Cam's character's dead. People die every day.
Well, I'm never happy when someone is, deceased. So I not happy for
So
that.
let me ask this question. Let me ask it as a more generalized question. How do you feel about vigilante justice in terms of someone who does a community wrong and the community taking it into their own hands?
Well, honestly,
Let's look at it that way.
I'm kind of conflicted. Like listening to the story, you say that he was a hero or whatever. And, he got drugs off the street, but as he's found dead, he's found with 20 bags of drugs leading up to him. So I'm kind of conflicted on how to give a review on.
He was an OG. I was in Harlem on Halloween when I found out the news. So very like hush hush on the business. Rest in peace, not just him. I have no comment.
Because you're not trying to get shot up or nothing in Harlem for somebody seeing this record.
I got my peoples in Harlem, so it's not none of my business. So I'm gonna be a lady in my fucking business.
All right.
Ain't got nothing to do with me. Got nothing to do with us. Shit happens. Like Cam said, every day, D. But I no comment. But my condolences to the family.
You have. If you were one of those kids or one of those families that was served a turkey, you're going to feel one way. If you're one of those families in which your family was affected negatively by this presence, you're going to feel one way. Me, I just heard about the person as of this conversation, so it's just like life was lost. God bless. I don't really. I love community activators, but I don't like. So it's like, hey, okay.
Morgs.
I mean, as a little girl from the hood myself, I mean, when you're a New Yorker, we all have our hood legends and whatever, whether they've done good, whether they've done bad. I mean, shout out to the people of Harlem. Shout out to the family, shout out to the families affected. Just shout outs to everyone involved in one way or another within this, issue. And blessed be.
Blessed be.
Well, rest in peace, Alpo Martinez.
Or not, right?
Oh, wow.
Get me off this show.
We're here to provide multiverse type of situation. Okay, see, y'all really want to get into this?
No, I'm kidding.
Because I be concerned about the rest in peace. Like, when someone is an asshole their whole life and we know they're an asshole and they die, and then we want to be like, well, let's rest in peace and let's not speak ill of the dead and stuff. Isn't your death supposed to be a reflection of your life? So shouldn't your death reflect your life? So, like, why do we all of a sudden, when people die and stuff, we get all whoop-de-woo?
Well, I would say... Well, I would say rest in peace because being a Christian, down south person that I am, it's like you got to make sure you're right so that you can get into heaven. So your last actions or whatever, you got to make sure it's right. So me saying rest in peace, it's part of my blessing and my prayer to you to maybe bless and pray for you to be able to get through those gates of heaven. So I say rest in peace or blessings unto you when, because you might have done wrong in this lifetime. You never probably really prayed for yourself.
So do y'all think Caitlyn Jenner is going to say rest in peace to OJ?
No.
When that time comes?
I think he's going to sip her tea and crumpet.
Yeah, I think it's just something that you just say. But if it's someone I don't fuck with,
it's a respect thing.
I'm not going to wish a thing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
not
not
saying
gonna
we have to
wish that
wish.
they
So
goes
I'm
out or
just,
anything.
I think my thing is just so it's different, but it's kind of the insane in my head, and y'all know how my head is. It's weird up in here. It feels performative. It feels like it's not substantive. It doesn't mean anything. You're just doing it or saying it or like what's the kind of like the same questions I had for like about Caitlyn saying what she said after the fact. Is like, what do you plan to get from that? Like, what
I
is
also
it?
look at it like this: if you don't have, it's kind of like this. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So I'm very much, if I don't know the person, or if I know, like, you were this kind of person in this life, I'm not gonna post up the rest in peace for you. I'm not gonna follow the bandwagon. But like, if you were close to me and like, that's what is respect.
I say niggas die every day, B.
I'm
And we
paying
can dead that topic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
fucking dead.
rest in peace is very like it's the ultimate gray area. You can say if I don't like you, rest in peace. If I do like you, rest in peace. But then it's also, for me, it's like it shows a level of respect to the people that are affected by it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not. Like you know what I'm saying? So me saying rest in peace is not as if like I know what's going on at the end. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to figure out what your life was or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, rest in peace. But I don't think it's like when I say it, I don't feel like, I'm obligated to say it. If I don't fuck with you, I'm just not gonna say anything. Like you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I feel like I don't think rest in peace
Yeah,
is
but
like,
that still doesn't mean that my heart
anything
doesn't go
outside
out
of
to
normal
you.
saying hi, bye, or
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I
I
empathize because there's
personally,
family members, you were saying that's,
Yeah,
I
yeah, no, I
personally,
get
I'm
that. But
not.
I get graces to the living. I just don't understand graces to the dead.
Okay.
I'm not really a
because your
person
journey
that
is
like
over.
does the rest in peace thing. I don't post rest in peace. I don't like say rest in peace just because personally, like Lego said, it's a real gray area, and to me personally, I think in my fucked up little mind, to me, it does nothing. So I'm the type of person where I would give my condolences, to you and your family. If it's someone that is in my family or in my close circle or someone that I have, care for, then I'll, in my own way, have a memorabilia for them where I decided, but it would never include like rest in peace. Like I'm not a rest in peace person. Like anyone who knows me, like my closest bestest friend could
So I
honestly,
want to
God
dead the
forbid, die
conversation.
tomorrow,
We
I
can go
wouldn't
to the
post rest
next
in peace.
topic. I want to dead it. We can go to the
Rest
next
in
topic, but
peace. We can rest in peace
I want to
shit.
finish with one
Absolutely.
question. It's a yes or no question. With the
Okay.
information that I gave, out about him, what y'all know from the movie Paid in Full, should Harlem give him a parade? Yes or no?
Should Harlem give him a what? A break or
A
parade?
parade. A parade. Yes or no?
Mm.
So yes or no question, and then we can go to the next topic.
No.
X.
I said
It's
no.
COVID.
Sasha,
No comment.
Lego.
I really
You on mute. You on mute, Lego. You on
You
mute.
muted yourself. You were unmuted, and then you muted yourself. There you go.
and those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That was cute. I like that. Let me sip to that.
Well, our next topic, speaking of rest in peace, Brooklyn has lost a great one. I think Gunna will say RIP to this one. I'm gonna play a small clip from her. Rest in peace to the Queen of Brooklyn.
Citizen. ISIS, if you come to New York City and you try to blow anything up, Barack Obama is coming for you. I'm from Brooklyn. I rep Brooklyn all day. They killed Biggie.
What part of Brooklyn are you
I'm from Brownsville.
You're from Brownsville.
I'm from Brownsville.
You are very
all
Brooklyn.
day.
You are very
I'm
Brooklyn.
So Brooklyn.
You are so
they killed my boy Biggie.
I'm a Brownsville all day.
So over the
Period.
No
weekend,
shade, give her a
Queen of
parade.
BK
Give
passed
her a parade.
away.
Period.
I kind of like, stumbled upon the Queen of BK, not knowing her personally or not meeting her, but just, living in New York and just like hearing about her and then seeing clips of her. So that's my way of knowing the Queen of BK. So rest in peace to her. Everyone else, She passed away this weekend. You all.
I mean, look, you got Princess Diana, you got like Malcolm X, and then you got the Queen of Brooklyn.
Big Show.
You did not put those.
Your
names.
speaker, your mic.
Big purr.
Her.
Oh, your mic is going in and out, Gunna.
That's because I'm moving. I'm
That-
excited.
And those are his thoughts.
So you was excited?
Oh, I think we inside your bonnet now.
So what makes her? So what makes the Queen of Brooklyn so special to you? For you to be so.
It's Brownsville all day, and they kill Biggie, and that's it.
So
You needed to know.
tell me, you're from Nashville, Tennessee.
First of all, watch your mouth.
Bitch, no way.
Watch your mouth.
Son, you don't even eat
I'm from Brooklyn. Barack Obama is gonna get you.
baby.
Barack Obama is gonna get you. She represent Brooklyn, and they killed her nigga Biggie. That's all you need to know. Princess Diana, Queen of Brooklyn.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace.
All right.
Wow.
I don't know how she passed
No
away.
shade. Hold on, Gillette.
Go ahead
with this. All right.
All right.
She's like, you know what she is? She's like Brownsville straight version of like Gina Gospel. Like she's just my girl.
I love Gina Gospel.
Exactly. Rest in peace, Gina Gospel. You see?
Oh my God! Someone, I don't know if this is an allegedly. Someone said this in the comments.
Yes, they did say she fell off a building. They don't know if it was a suicide. Well, they're claiming as if it was a suicide.
They pushed my girl.
But I don't know.
They killed Biggie. They killed the Queen of Brooklyn.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I fucking can't.
It's Gunna for me. It's Gunna for me with this raw as law. He's just being raw tonight. It's just so much.
It's so raw.
You know what? She tried to tell them. She said, if you fuck with us, Barack Obama gonna get you. I represent Brownsville, and they killed Biggie. She was using coded messages to let us know they was coming for her, and they got her.
Oh, that makes sense.
Y'all gotta learn to speak hood speak.
It's okay. All right.
Oh, from
It's
the hood.
I'm from Tompkins and Troop and Green and Troop, bitch. I know all about Kosciuszko.
Well,
You had your share.
Brooklyn, Brownsville, stand up. You know, our hearts go out to you. You lost a great one. Rest in peace.
OG.
BK.
OG.
On to other
To the
news.
Queen of Brooklyn and Big.
Okay, on to other news. I hope I don't get kicked off, but Mark Zuckerman is in talk. Well, it's not in talk, but he is actually about to change Facebook to Meta.
Well, it's not just Meta. Well, it's not. Well, Facebook, the app.
Okay, well, give us.
So it's Facebook. It's Facebook, the brand, the company that owns Instagram and Snapchat and Booble Chat and Earth and all the apps. They're calling themselves Meta.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to create like this metaverse where all of your personal data is tied into each other, and you can like explore alternate Earths and worlds and blah 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 blah. It's really Aldous Huxley's, Brave New World. It's really a fancy way to say that we're going to gather a lot of data on you and profile the shit out of you and target you with certain messaging. That's really what it is. I also think he's trying to rebrand. I think Facebook has had its run as a company name, and at this point, it's starting to really get a lot of bad press after coming off the tail end of the previous one before that, the election, and just now everybody's pushing. Both Republican and Democratic Party are pushing for reform changes amongst like social media giants with our private data and stuff like that. So I really think he's trying to do a rebrand, because he needs to kind of sell. He needs a brand that sells this story, right? Because the old Facebook story was like, meet up with your girlfriends and leave little comments here and rate pictures and post what you ate today. But they've since evolved from that to basically a data mining giant. This is my level of expertise. I actually am a data engineer by trade. So yeah, they're basically a big data mining company. That's how. Have you ever noticed how? And I'm sure we've all said it, where you'll say, "Bitch, I didn't even type that. How did they know I was just talking about purses or bags or something like that?" So like, let's say all of us are sitting in a room and we're having a conversation about pink flowers, right? Gillette goes and looks up pink flowers on her phone while we're having the conversation. They know enough information about the vicinity of us to her that we would start seeing advertisements for pink flowers on our Facebook app because they're going to make the assumption, oh, all 5 of them are in a very close room. She just Googled something while they're together, so they must be having a conversation about it. So let me target all of those people.
That's tacky.
So that's how they do a lot of their data mining and profiling. And so there's a lot of other countries have fought back. Like I know in Europe, you can actually purge. You can sign up and like purge all of your Facebook data, and they have like a legal obligation to delete every single trace of everything you ever posted or anything like that. The United States does not have any of those type of protection laws in place.
Oh wow, well, we thank you for that information because most of us don't know that.
Most of us need that.
How do you all feel about this? If this happens to be the new wave, they killed MySpace. So how do you all feel about this being a new wave? Like them knowing your personal data and
I mean, I'm a read, but still sign up. I mean, what like honest with you, like, what are we gonna do besides read?
Life really get like it's been more personal. The fact that COVID has separated us from our loved ones. People have broken up. It's broken up relationships. It's broken up marriages. Put a split in America. Like, is this gonna really help the fucking world or just be another to distract us from what's really going on?
So you're looking at distraction?
Mental to our mental. Is it gonna help the homeless man that's standing outside who is on the sidewalk in front of my house? Dehydration. Is this app gonna help? The drug, is it going to help the drug dealer to get off the block and help him get another job, to get a real job? Because some people who have felonies can't even get jobs. What is this really going to do? What is the motive?
This is part of the big debate that they have, Sasha. This is
for a white billionaire. Because if it is, I'm out.
But this is part of the debate that they have around what's the responsibility of companies like Facebook, and we'll call them by app, even though they're all under one umbrella. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. What is the responsibility that they have to the public space? Because ideally, they're providing a service, and we're giving them all of our information, right? They're not necessarily coming and invading and seeking the information from us. We're actually giving them the information, and so that's why it's a murky area. We don't have a lot of laws around cybersecurity of private data because, again, it's not like in a hospital, right, where you go and there's laws around. You can't, as a nurse, I can't give someone's personal information away, right? There's laws around that. But if I sign up for the app and I tell you everything, what responsibility do they have not to disseminate that? You pretty much put it in a public space. So what's the difference in them taking it and putting it where they want to, right? So I'm with Lego. It's like we're gonna do it. I think the thing is, I think at this point, apps like Facebook are like the government. They're like white supremacy. They're like patriarchy. They become so big and so ingrained that to undo it would take a catastrophic change of like the entire population. Like it would be like saying, let's not have phones no more. We would all have to get up tomorrow and all throw our phones away. Otherwise, we're not getting rid of the telephone. We're not getting rid of Facebook because they get millions of people subscribing every day.
So, but here's the other thing too. It's like, if they're not selling our information, then how are they going to make money? Which means that they'll then charge to use the service. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because like, all of us, we don't read the terms and conditions, but none of us can
Mhm.
sue. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of it's in the terms and conditions. So it's like,
Yep.
okay, since you're not going to pay us, bitch, we're going to use your information. We want to know you went to McDonald's, Party City, you went to
But
this
we are
things
paying them
ball.
with
You know what
our
I'm saying? You went
information.
over to, yeah.
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 I mean, nothing in life is free, right? You have to think about a company this large paying for the servers and the internet service for you to be able to for me to load up all my gigabytes of video and stuff. You think they're just going to provide that service for free? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. You just like the day you're born and your social security number has a value, $1. Every life born in the United States has a value attached to it. That's what we have a social security number for, right? We are an entity that's part of a corporation called the United States of America. When you sign up for Facebook, you are now a data asset for them. So
Mhm.
you think you're getting a free service, but you are not. You are being targeted with ads. You are being data mined. There's so much information. I was reading an article last summer about they were mining the Google Maps data in Europe, and they were able to predict with 98% accuracy where people would go every day, how they would get there. By looking at your data, they could tell you, oh, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, you're going to go to work in this direction. But if it's raining, you're going to take this path. If there's an accident up the road, you're going to take this path. And with 99% accuracy, they could tell you exactly where you're going. Right. And so we got to think about, as individuals, you have to kind of set your own boundary, I think, and think about how much information you want to give them and what it's for. Ultimately, big governments and corporations like to know exactly what we're doing. So they can either track us, they can sell us things, they can market to us X, Y, and Z. And they just have gotten really, really good at it. They're not doing anything that's any different than a company, they used to go around in the 80s and have people fill out surveys, right? It's just that was a much slower process. The difference is today the process is instantaneous, right? You go and Lego posts a picture of, a Ferrari, and I like his picture. They now know that I like Ferrari cars. Ferrari didn't have to come to me and say, "Hey, what do you think about our new model?" They can just buy data from Facebook for when people post pictures about cars, which people are saying thumbs up, which ones are leaving bad comments. So it's the same. It's the same system. It's so automated now and it's so much faster that it feels like an invasion of privacy. But ultimately, every time you use your debit card, you know, every time you drive under a street light in a major city, they have your license plate. They know where you're going. They can follow you.
Wow.
So it's kind of like Independence Day. The movie has repeated itself into history.
It's kind of
Because
Eagle Eye.
do you guys agree with that?
Eagle Eye. The movie Eagle Eye.
Or the
Yeah,
book. Did
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
in high school? Did you guys read the book Brave New World by Aldous
No,
Huxley?
I
Yeah.
read
So it
Charlotte's.
talks about this.
I
It
barely
talks about
read The
this.
Great
This
Gatsby.
Lord. So it talks about, so you had writers that were writing about this like dystopian type of world where like the government controls everything, and it's pretty much that. No shade. Like they see everything. There's a camera on every block. Like even in the United States, we're not as bad as other countries. Like other countries, they flat out like in Europe, there's not a block that you can go down and not be on a camera on a
Mm-hmm.
closed
Wow.
circuit television. Not one block. Not
Are
a
you
single block. So, it really, I think in my opinion, this is kind of like, this is my conspiracy mind though. I think it's gonna lead, and we see all those, all those movies where it's like it's the end of times and like the rich done left the planet or found some little island and everyone
yeah.
else is living like in this cruddy ass dark dank city and searching for scraps and stuff. That is predictive. That is a world that I do think is
No.
gonna happen. Not saying it's gonna necessarily happen in our lifetime, but at some point we're gonna realize that we're slaves to a system that we can now not stop.
Oh no.
Because
Look at it. It's something as simple as even our government controls food supply. They can literally just stop all food being delivered to an entire neighborhood if they want to, right? Close all the interstates, and then my town of East Orange, my stores get no food.
yeah, because it's an African store up the street, and they were selling these fabulous grapes, and since the COVID, they can't afford the grapes no more.
And you see, we have a chicken
And
shortage.
the sapphire grapes, ones that look like little dicks.
Wait, the grapes look like
My
dicks.
kids used to call them the dick grapes, but I told them y'all can't call them the dick grapes because they would think I'm a bad mom, so they gotta call them
They
sapphire
could have.
grapes.
They should have called them wet and raw.
Oh my
No
lord.
Oh,
shade. If another store
that's called
tells me that they ain't got no more chicken, I'm gonna vomit in their store.
It's chicken where I stay.
We got
Ooh.
chicken over here. Have you
Oh,
noticed though, sis, that the
yay.
chicken's more expensive? Like even at the Popeyes and stuff. I think the meals definitely went up about $1 or so since 2 years ago.
Is it grilled?
I mean, it's the
Bitch,
same chicken.
there's a chicken shortage at the supermarket at the commissary. Okay? That's the military supermarket. That is a problem in itself.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah.
them having a shortage of Cheetos.
But see, because
Yeah.
we gotta understand the same way that big corporations and governments profit off of large scale war, right? That's why we have these wars. It's really a profit engine machine. Corporations within a country profit off of chaos within the people. So if you have food shortages, you have people being super nervous about which app is following me. You have all the division between the party lines and all of this. All this is causing for a people that are very disjointed. So we'll never be able to really break down these systems because I agree with Lego on the chicken shortage, but I hate the fact that he thinks this way politically. So we'll never be allies to fight our common enemy, right? These type of corporations and
Right.
governments and stuff, they thrive in this type of environment. If you look at the history of national breakdown of empires that have fallen, America's due to fall very soon. Pretty much every empire in the history of the modern era, even back to pre-modern era, they only last about 400 years before they pretty much fall apart and have interwar. And America's do that. And I think obviously not just America, now the globe is do that because America kind of controls the global structures of money and governments and all of that. So the world is due a big implosion sometime soon.
That's crazy.
But next topic, we ain't gotta get
In
all doom and gloom because bitches die every day, B.
other news,
Word.
New York City has a new mayor. He's a second black mayor in New York City, and he has something to say.
The team told me to come through the back, come around the stage, come directly in. And they said, this is the way we want you to move. And I said to them, I'm the mayor.
All right. New
Wait,
York
the
City,
video cut off. What'd he say?
he said he's the
I'm
mayor.
the mayor.
They tried to tell him how to move and shake, and he said, "Girl, I'm the girl."
He said, "I'm the mayor." So New York City has their second in history black mayor. That's good. I love it.
Mm.
Come on, Ike, and put some stank on it.
Mm.
I'm not gonna hold you. I'm about done cheering for people because they got a position because they're black. We had an Obama. I love Obama down, but let's be honest. So I mean, congrats, a point for us in the racial race.
Yeah.
But let's just hope this nigga has his head on straight.
Literally.
This kind of goes into what I was saying earlier, Lego, about like kind of like the death and stuff of Colin Powell, but obviously in the life form. This token, this climb and race for tokenism in white power structures. We've had a Michael Jackson, we've had a Michael Jordan, we've had an Obama, we have an Oprah, we had this black mayor, we've had all these black firsts and things of that nature. And it's really a distraction from the ultimate goal, which is to overturn this bullshit ass shit that's ruling us, right? Because that's a carrot dangle to me. While we're distracted, thinking it's great we have him, everything that still keeps us oppressed is still here. Nothing's changing. But we can say, great, we got a second black mayor with the fucking D. If he's not talking about taking down the actual system that he wants us to praise him for being an elite in, because that's the irony of this thing, right? The irony of the Democratic Party is they want us to like praise them because they're in this thing, but they're part of the machine itself, right? They're the elite oligarchy, they're the plutocracy. They get to that power and they don't really change anything. So it's like, why am I praising you for, it's like praising you for getting real close to Massa. Like, ooh, I work in Master's Kitchen now. Ooh, yay, good Negro.
Ooh, yes, you a
Congratulations.
kitchen nigga. All right.
Yay. But we're
Because
all
these
still slack. Like it's not
been broke.
progress. I wanna like Lego said, I wanna chant and clap for progress. And just having a position is not progress to me.
All right.
I eat a Swedish fish.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that the man has problems. Just clarify. I don't know too much about the man, but I'm just like, I mean, when I was 18 voting for Obama, that was enough. Like you're saying. And then looking back over the years, I'm like, wait, this is
Literally.
happening too? Wait, that was happening too while he was in
Mhm.
office? You were saying now it's just like, okay, are niggas still gonna get frisked at any given moment? Can people still run up in our houses now that we have a black neighbor? Are we just gonna be happy that, things are still the same? We just have a black guy running it now.
Right.
I do think
Am
the
I
real
still getting tackled by police officers and beat up because I jumped over a $2.50 turnstile?
Is my murder
You
still going
know,
to be?
What'd you say, Morgan?
Morgan.
no, I was just gonna say I do think that the real congratulatory is that the fact that De Blasio is no longer mayor. So a step in the right direction.
I
Not
want to agree
Tim,
with you, Morgan,
but
but it's that lesser of two evils argument. Less of two evils still leaves me with evil. Like being happy that we don't have Trump, but now we have Biden. It's like, but what is you know what I'm saying? It's like they've been duping black people into this type of
I
politics,
mean,
mental mind fuck since we had the power to vote. And it's like they'll say, "Oh, don't take arsenic. Be happy we gave you, cyanide." And it's like, but bitch, they both still killing me.
No shade.
at this, I feel like at this day and age and this time of the state of our dormitory country and world as we live in, um, you just gotta let it be. No shade. It's choices. Okay, you can get the red pill or the fucking blue pill. You fucking choose.
Or I'm just gonna stare at you and be like, "Bitch, I'm not." Because here's the thing, and this is the other thing. A good Judy of mine, Charles, the people's icon, talks about this all the time on Facebook. Right? If the last party didn't show us anything, it showed us that when people are in power, they can do what the fuck they want to do. So if we have people in power that aren't making policies and changes, it's because ultimately they don't want to. This man sat in that White House and did what the fuck he wanted to and told bitches, "You're going to fall in
Literally.
line. I do not care." Democrats always promise us stuff. Black First always promise us stuff. They get there and then they say, "Oh, I can't. The big bad boogeyman won't let me give it to you." No, bitch, you're not putting your foot on their neck. Why? Because you're getting a backdoor deal. Right? It's like I tell people all the time. It's like the Republicans, Democrats, the first blacks, all of them. I look at them as good cop, bad cop on First 48. Ultimately, no matter how nice the cop is being to you or how much an asshole he's being to you, they both want your ass to go to jail for how they feel you guilty. Neither one of them is really your friend. They both trying to do you in. And that's just what I feel about politicians at this point, especially American westernized politics. It's a do-in process. Unless he has to show me. I don't believe in, respect due to a person until you earn it, especially in a position of politics. Show me what you worth. If he get in here and change some shit, then I'll sing a different tune. Until then, congratulations on day one.
Oh.
I do think that New York has and needs a lot of work though in itself. So
We'll see.
Because
We'll
what's
see.
more dangerous, in my opinion, than a white guy is a black guy that has those same opinions but has the power of black people. Where you could just come to a place and we think like, oh yeah, you're automatically approved because you share our skin color, but next thing you know, they have a mindset like a Kanye. You can say they sound like that gay child that is also a Trump supporter. You know what I'm saying? You never know. Like some people know how to cover up their intentions. Especially how crazy this world is now. It's like hearing the things about Kamala. You were saying before she became, vice
Well,
president,
the
and
girls
she's
tried to
coming out
warn us
there.
about
So it's
tomorrow.
just like, yeah.
yeah, they've been told her tea.
The girls tried
I
to
mean,
They've
warn
been
us
told
about us.
Kamala's tea.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
the girls
No,
been
we were
trying to
saying
warn
they've
us.
been pumped her tea. They've been pumped Kamala tea
oh.
because she was the governor, and I mean, she was something in California. I don't fucking know.
but see, this goes back to what I was saying about like when you're
Because
being.
remember when she was running for president.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What? No, go ahead, Lego.
Like when she was running for president, she was getting paid sternly, right? And then now you go on vice president. Now it's like, as I was like, wait, am I in a twilight zone? I could have sworn I seen y'all reading this thing. Now it's like, oh,
We
okay,
love
okay.
her.
It's the at least she's black thing. You know what I'm saying? And we
And it's
wear
the
that the
and it's
fuck
the
out.
duping
It's
of
like,
the
okay, we
dumb,
got
right?
enough.
Like it's the duping of the dumb. Like you convinced us that she wasn't qualified to be president, but she's qualified to be the second in command to a man who may die and still make her president. So how would she be qualified if he dies tomorrow? Right? But again, it goes back to what I was just saying about like these systems. I don't give praise to people who want praise for excelling in white oppressive systems, right? Like you're like if you want praise from me, like be out here starting something, go against the system. But this whole mental mind fuck that they told us that you can, get into the system and infiltrate and change the thing. Audre Lorde said it best. The master's tools will not dismantle the master's house. No one is going to build a house and build a way to destroy the house and then tell you how to use that to destroy my house once you get inside. So when they tell us to vote, when they tell us to protest, these are not tools that are going to break this system because they're telling us to use those tools. I'm not going to give you the tools to destroy me. I'm going to give you the tools to make you complacent and make you think I'm listening to you, but ultimately I don't care. And so I just don't think that we're going to win with this infiltration method. We're just not.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't feel like that's definitely not gonna work. I always been a person of child. If the girl that's walking in for women's rights, with the child that's marching for AIDS, with the child that's marching for trans rights, all got together, you would say and said, "This is our list of things that we need as a whole," versus it being, attacked separately. You would say I feel like things will get addressed by this, but it's just like, yeah, we're divided trying to fight for the same things because we have our own prejudices of each other's struggles. You know what I'm saying? So like we're always going to be in this weird space where it's like, okay, well at least they look like us. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we're just in that weird at least space. But I'm tired of talking about the same things. I already know what it feels like to be black. White people at this point in this century should know because we have enough conversations, enough panel discussions, enough interviews falling back all the way to like the 40s about our experiences. There should be no white person that's saying, oh, we did not know. And we now have to, teach our company on how to treat people in these spaces. They should have been known. You say now it's like, no, now we have to also hold the people who call themselves our leaders, like Miss Thing. You stopped running for us once you got the Corvette and the 3-decker house.
Mm-hmm.
Like Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton only shows up when she's getting paid. Let's be honest.
No shade. No shade.
It's like that's where we're at as like black people. Like, like these girls are only showing up for their own personal gain. It's just gonna take people to, actually give a fuck. They ain't here yet though.
I put in the comments, like I said, intersectionality is what's going to liberate us. When I'm not fighting because I'm black or
Yes.
fighting because I'm gay or fighting because I'm cis or fighting, and I'm like, oh, all these things coexist and all these things need to be liberated at the same time. That's when we'll have true liberation. But again, that's part of the divide and conquer method, right? And you just brought up something that I used to. It just baffles me that we allow white people to act like they don't understand race, and it's a construct that they created. Like they sat in a lab and really created this entire societal construct, and now they're like, race? What's that? That don't exist. Yes, it does. It exists in the very fiber of who you are as white people. Y'all literally sat in a lab in a castle in Europe, called up the Pope, and got approval from the kings, the queens, and the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church, to create this new social construct called race. Because prior to that, you had classism and you had misogyny. That's pretty much, those are like the big isms and divisions before that. You were man or woman, or you were rich or poor. And they wanted to create something new because they lacked a lot of power and all the other countries had resources and they wanted to take the resources, XYZ. There's a whole historical thing to it, but to the original point, it just bedazzles me when they're like, race, I don't understand. How don't you understand race? when you say things like, when they look at our names like Shaniqua and you can't pronounce that, or you act all dumbfounded, but you can pronounce like Manishnikov and Michelangelo and all of those names, you clearly are intentionally not paying attention to this thing that you've deemed other.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get to act like you don't know. We don't have to teach you about what it is to be racist anymore. White people are racist. That is what it is. Right? The level of their racism varies. I'll give them that. Right? It's not always intentional. It's not always malicious in intent. But every white person is racist to me, just like every cis person is transphobic in a way, and every black person, we all have these things because we're all products of these very systems.
Right.
From before we're born, we're ingrained into these systems. But for me, it's about the amount of work that you're doing to try to unpack those things. Because we all have to unpack them. And white people just don't want to unpack them. It's like this whole thing that they have now with critical race theory. They don't want to teach their history because they know their history is shit. I'm going to give one quick example, then we can go to the next topic. So, y'all, a lot of people know that I come through the earth through a white vagina, right? And so I've had a lot of these conversations with my mother around race. And it got to the point to where one day it was brought up. She was like, so, like, are you ashamed that you have me as a white mother? Like, would you ever, because she didn't understand. She's trying to understand how her black son feels this way about race. And I was like, no, it's not that. I'm not ashamed that you're my mother. You're my mother. You're my rock. You will always be that to me. Am I proud of my white heritage? No. And she was like, but why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you be proud? I asked her and I challenged her, and I challenge all white people to do this. Name something that white people have done in the modern era that didn't come at the expense of another race or a color or creed of people. They don't have any history that didn't come at the expense of somebody, right? They can say, oh, well, what about America is great? You killed people to get this land. Oh, well, what about Microsoft and all this? Again, resources that can be dated back to the transatlantic slave trade. They don't create unless it comes at the expense. So there's nothing there to be proud of. And they know that at the heart of hearts. That's why they try to create and fake their history. And that's why they don't want their real history being told, because their real history is oppressive as fuck. They know what race is, but that's enough. Go ahead.
Enough about
Y'all
that.
Get me started on this. We'll be here for 3 hours.
About breaking down and
sidebar. I was trying to make sure. By the time the camera came on, the smoke was gone.
Oh no, we smoke on here.
We love that here. That's fine. So my girl Britney Spears got her freedom. She's kind of nervous with having her freedom right now. She says she's kind of scared she's gonna make some mistakes and stuff like that. But we're all adults. We all make mistakes. But her sister's kind of in the hot seat. Miss Jamie Lynn, Benny Lynn Spears, whatever. Morgan has more information on that with Miss Jamie Lynn, but Jamie, let Britney be free. Britney is doing her big one, honey.
Hashtag free Britney.
Does that mean that she's free like us free?
She's free like us. She can write her own checks. She can go out to the stores and like purchase stuff with her own money. She can like
free.
She's free.
She could drive a car.
She can drive her own car.
I'm not gonna be there for the first concert, but the second.
I heard the stories. It was it was a gag, because to know that during this whole time that we've been living our own lives, she has been. It goes to show you that fame will really kick you in your ass. People will really sit there and say, "Oh, I want to be famous," but they don't even know what the terms are. You don't want to be famous when you have to go to the bodega and not even in 2.3 minutes, the whole neighborhood is in there. The niggas and the women and the children. It's not something that you wake up and say that's what you want. Fame is not something that you ask for. It just what comes at you at a peak of your success. Some people run away from it. Some people commit suicide. I'm glad that she's free. I knew that it tore her down with her mental health. It can really fuck with you. It can make you not want to wake up and just say fuck it. And even if you do want to wake up, you don't want to get dressed. You don't want to be her. I can say, just for my example, when my campaign came out, and I did my little modeling stuff, I was ready, but they didn't tell me when it was going to get released. So when it got released, I didn't know that it was going to be on the train stations, the bus stops, Barclays Center. I mentally had to be prepared for that, because when you sign up for something, you give it your all, you know. But now I go through times where I don't want to be Sasha. You know, I don't want to be in my heels all the time. But this is an image that I have created, and this is what I signed up for. So kudos to Brittany. We understand. We love you.
Well, on that note, we're gonna get into Miss Jamie fucking Lynn. She claims that her parents are the ones who pushed her to, get an abortion when she was 16, because she was 16 and pregnant.
Mhm.
And they tossed insults at her when she decided against it, and they were the reason that she went into hiding. Um, my thing with Jamie Lynn is I feel like it's just always like a grab with her at trying to feel like a victim. And I'm not necessarily saying that which disregarding anything that she went through or her parents have put her through, because her parents are shit. Everybody knows they're shit. However, comma, Jamie, this isn't really the time for that. Simply because we want to know more about what Brittany is going through and your hand in that. So instead of trying to deflect and say like, "Oh, woe is me," um, bitch, let's really talk the funny, the chimmy, and stop yapping about shit that, I mean, not necessarily saying people don't care about it, but no shade, girl. Give us the real tea.
Yeah, like
I
girl,
mean, is it her responsibility to step to the side for her sister's pain? Like, if she has a real life, a lived
well,
experience, can she not
I think
talk about her lived experience?
I think
Her lived
overall, girl,
experience has to do with what happened to her
and it
sister,
goes back.
though.
It goes back to girl. Why are you saying something now?
Right.
I don't know.
Talk
I think
about
it's a
what's
little bit
going on
different. But if you're talking about like
what
an
your
abortion
sister
and stuff
did.
like that, to me, that's like trauma type experience, and you really can't tell people how long they have to wait on their trauma.
That's
I don't
true.
know. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
No
little different
shade.
than Miss Caitlyn talking about somebody else and another friend. You know what I'm saying? When it's certain trauma things, me personally, I just try not to, like. I don't tell a rape victim how long they have to talk about that. I don't tell a woman how long she has to remorse over her womb or the loss of a child or something. I think that's real. I don't know, but I do think that family's kind of crazy. Like, the parents are kind of crazy. Um, and so, the apple don't fall too far from the tree in the sense that, she is a product of her mother and father and her sister's surroundings. So if she's a little loony, I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, isn't Brittany like the only case in like United States history where she was what is the word that they call it? Where she has that overseer. What is it called? What,
Oh,
Sasha?
she was
A conservator,
servitor.
right?
Yeah.
She had a conservator for both her person and for her financial side of her brand, right? And because I watched the interviews and stuff, and I've been watching the stuff lately to get caught up on it because I didn't know. We've all, like you said, Sasha, we've all been living our life, kind of not really knowing what was going on. But it just goes again to what we kind of all been talking about, like this big brother, this big government. Like, who is the government to tell a woman who's qualified to do 100-night show tour? She's sane enough to go out and make $50 million a year, but she's not sane enough to spend that money, right? Like, who allows for laws to be created and allows for someone else to come in and tell you you're sane enough to make money, but not sane enough to spend it?
It's heartbreaking.
But I think in this case, not trying to like overlook her trauma, with her abortion and things like that. And but this is a moment like Britney has been going through a lot, like, and the media has known Britney's been going through a lot. Why wait now to try to capitalize off of her sister with like this Trump. It's like a cry for attention to me, honestly. Like, I mean, I'm not
that's
over
exactly what it
what's
is.
going on, but it's
Her
like,
abortion
Which
has
of y'all
nothing
have
to do
siblings?
with
Which of
years.
y'all have
I
siblings?
do.
I have siblings too, but it also goes to like, okay, Beyonce and Solange. Beyonce's gonna always be Beyonce, and Solange's always gonna be in the shadow. You're always not gonna always want to be in the shadow of your, like your siblings. You're gonna always want to do something that's gonna bring attention to you as well.
Yes,
Right,
and
and that's
that's
what
the thing.
and maybe that's why I'm not so critical of it because I to me it's like yeah, as adults we kind of look at it through this stan and fan eye. You know, we want to know about Britney, we want to know about that. But to her, Britney's just my sister, and bitch, she's getting a lot of limelight, and I want some too. And we've all been that way with our as children. You know, if your parent, your mom and daddy giving your brother or sister a little bit more attention, so you come out there, you be like, wait, look at me, look at me, look at me too. I'm here too, right? And
Right.
so I see it as that. We see her as Britney the superstar, she sees her as my sister, you know, and she's getting a lot of attention, and I want some too.
I'm
I
not
thought she was caught
disregarding
up in like
anything
some
that
shady
Jamie went through.
stuff.
Say that one more
Huh?
time.
No, go ahead, Lego.
Oh.
I thought Jamie was caught in some shady stuff as it pertains to Britney's conservatorship, like taking some
Yes.
of her money or something
That's
like
what,
that.
Yes.
So
and
I
that's what
don't
we're.
think it's that
Yes.
surprising.
She's deflecting the whole time to try to overlook
Yes.
what she's done in the whole thing with Britney.
Yes. It has nothing. I don't want to
But I think
disregard
at this
anything
time though
trauma.
too, yeah, I think at this time though too, I think for the sake of Britney, watching the documentary on Britney too, like made me realize not even on a celebrity standpoint, but just on a human standpoint, the things
Human.
that
That
you
was
say,
horrible.
you were
It
saying,
was.
really do affect people. Like you were saying. So it's just like you imagine, even it made me rethink the thing with Michelle, right? Michelle has went from a popular a name of a group to literally being an adjective. You can say she's the Michelle of, and this person's the Beyonce of. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
those
Yeah.
little, kinds of things that we don't really think too much of, but it's like it's damaging to these kinds of people. Like when I saw, Britney's, beating up the fucking carrying on my sister, that Toyota. You were saying, I'm just thinking that she's just okay. This is probably for show, but then you realize no, she was actually going through a mental breakdown, and we just keyed with it, and the paparazzi carried on her. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's just like, yeah, to be in this space is just like, do I really want at this time that we're celebrating you coming out, right? Pause. Am I really gonna dwell on the fact that that's where you were, or am I gonna be like, bitch, let's get you to a concert? Because you said you wasn't gonna give us one until you got out of it. You out of it, you doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Those people are gonna be handled ridiculously. You know what I'm saying? And regardlessly, already, we know that's gonna happen. But it's just like, yeah, entertaining the family members that know they fucked up because you're trying to leave your last few free speeches to say something while you can. It's like, okay, it makes sense, but it's like, it's just all about Britney at this point. I only want to watch her interviews. I only want to see her shows. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
anything about any family member's opinion or anything.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Mm.
You know, I'm just
Agreed.
I am concerned for Britney, in this, and from the perspective of when people,
And I
and
want
this
to
is
do
kind
her
of how we
hair
are,
if she
kind of
gets
at.
back on stage because I can't stand those shitty extensions that they set up there giving Britney Spears. She deserved better extensions. I do hair, Britney, so if you ever get back on stage, sign me up. I'll do it for fucking free. I love her that much because, as a kid growing up, watching her go through that mental health, I knew that it was mental health. And it was like they photographed that. And it's like, who really wants to wake up and have their mental health photographed?
And this is the part I wanted to add to that as well, is like, as a society, once we kind of build up a frame around someone, a lens that we see them through, we always see them through that lens, whether it's true or not, right? So she could go out and slip and fall tomorrow, right? As all of us can do. We go out, we're walking down the street, we slip and fall. But because it's Britney and because she's been associated with mental health and had a conservatorship, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, did she fall because she's on drugs? Is she going
No.
crazy?" She's like, "No, bitch, I just fell." Like, you see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's my thing, because I feel like any and everything she does coming out of this is gonna be scrutinized unjustly and with a very slanted bias.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
my concern, is they can almost now use anything against her to put her back on the conservatorship, right? If she goes out one night and she decides, I'm free, I want to, go to the club and spend $10,000.
So,
They're like,
so
oh my
typically
gosh,
what
she's
you,
spending her money crazy. She's about to go broke. Let's put her back on a conservatorship.
so simply what you pretty much saying is Britney is really not free.
She's not free. I don't think she. I honestly don't think, especially mentally, from her own mental anguish, she'll ever be free. Because again, what happens in these kind of situations is after being watched for so, it's like a prison. If you've ever
Yeah.
met someone that's done a long time in prison, when they get out, they're mentally still there at a lot of times. Right, and they
Institutionalized.
still feel like they're institutionalized. And I think at this point, it's been so long on her that she's gonna always feel. And it's almost like if you're not crazy, they make you crazy because now because
Hmm.
she's been watched for so long, she's gonna feel like she's being watched, and people are gonna use that she feels like she's being watched to say, "See, she's crazy." Ain't nobody
Crazy.
watching that girl. Why does she think people watching her? She's crazy. But
Right.
it's because she's been
Oh, trust me,
institutionalized to
the
look over her
paparazzi is
shoulder.
definitely going to do things to trigger her. They're
Yeah.
definitely going to do things to trigger
Girl,
her
they
with that
knew.
photo because a photo of her, a photo of her walking sober is nothing compared to a photo of her walking, lit up. You know
Pissed
what I'm
off.
saying?
Right.
So of course they're going to carry. I hope that, yeah, I'm hoping that Britney's situation though starts the conversation about laws being placed around celebrities because I don't think it's right that bitch. If you didn't know who the fuck I was and I literally got to where I was by whatever means you had nothing to do with that. Why is it legally okay for you to take pictures of me anywhere, bombard me anywhere? If I wasn't a celebrity and you did this to me, you would be in jail for harassment or stalking. So why isn't those
Yeah.
same things applied? You know what I'm saying? There's no contract that I write that says, oh, if I go viral or if I release a song that makes me famous, I have to let people just tear me apart on social media with
You're
things that should be
entitled to my
private.
personal space now. No.
No.
And that I wanted thank
Yeah,
you for
like
bringing that up, Lego, because I wanted to address that with what Sasha said. It is a certain level of when people become celebrity, they do become vulnerable in those spaces. But it is something different about the way that we treat celebrities, particularly here in the United States versus other places.
Right.
Right? That's why a lot of celebrities leave the US and go to other countries because in other countries you can be sitting down and be like, oh, it's Beyonce. Hey Beyonce, how you doing? Over here, we feel entitled that because you're a celebrity, I have the right to bombard you and ask for
And be in
pictures.
your
This goes back to what we
business.
talked about 2 episodes ago. We talked about, with Floyd Mayweather and the young man feeling entitled to take the picture with him. You're not entitled because they're a celebrity to invade their personal space. And in the United States, we feel that way. It's like, oh, well, girl, she became a celebrity. She asked for it. Right. Or, I watched it with Cardi B. Once Cardi became Cardi, people are like, oh my gosh, she got more. Like we do it even in our community. Someone becomes a big celebrity, you'll see it on people's Facebook. Oh girl, why is she responding to that? She's too big for that. No, baby, she's still a human who has to wake up and look at herself and love herself and hate and have her insecurities and everything. And so just because you become a celebrity doesn't mean you become superhuman. Right? Your emotions are still intact. Your insecurities are still intact. Your mental health is still intact. All of your history that you were up until you became a celebrity is still intact. And we think you just become this overnight person and it just flips. And now you become a public institution. These are people, not institutions. They're not a library that everyone has
because
public
here's the
access to.
side
Jay-Z was
effect.
right. It's a gift and a curse.
Here's this is like the terms and conditions that we like skip over. It's like, okay, say you got a part in a movie or you're a host of a TV show, even say you're a part of a reality show. The moment your face hits the screen, your life's movie starts, good or bad or indifferent. Everything that you do now from this point on is a part of the movie that's being created of you, right? So that's why it's not being taken as seriously because it's all entertainment. Like even if I see you, getting your ass beat by your husband, I'm thinking that these are two actors because this is how the media puts it out there as if it's some type of like entertainment type of situation, right? That's also the reason why I don't like have like say for instance like with the comment section on OTA. I don't add comments because it's like there's a child. Why would I let somebody that's 9 times out of 10 underage that knows nothing about ballroom take the time to put in this type of negative energy? Me being a ballroom walker myself, I know how it feels to see hundreds of comments that says work Lego, but it'll be that one comment that is so far-fetched to the left, you know what I'm saying? Or even the comments that just as far as, you know, them talking about the community, you know what I'm saying? If this is a safe space, I need that also to be reflected, you know what I'm saying, in every other way that I, you know, put out OTA, right? So if I can control this section, you know, then I'm gonna do so, right? I think it comes, you know, with that thing where it's just like, okay, if you want to step out there, you have to, and I strongly encourage you having friends that you can unpack to. You know what I'm saying? Even if that means that comes with the NDA, right? But you have to make sure you have friends that you can unpack to. You know, when it comes to stepping in line, like even for ballroom girls, because we're more closer to that fame, in my opinion, than any other sub community. You would say we're liable to go viral from shit that we say, from the shit that from the way that we dress, from who we walk in with. You know what I'm saying, from things that we do during our category. So we have to have that also, you know, that backup support, because we would, you know, even categories that we should have won. You were saying that we probably don't win. You were saying it's like, no, like if we're talking about, you know, we're raising up the point of mental health, we need to start preventing those things that contribute to that. And I personally feel like the comment section is definitely one of those, you know, factors.
Yeah,
You know,
totally
like we
agree.
just gotta, you know, remove the comment section ignites people to keep on doing the things that they do. No shade. That's how I personally, like, you know, just from my lens of seeing how the media is, it will be something posted, then everything usually carries, you know, when it comes to people's commentary. That's why Twitter carries the way it does. You know, saying, because it's people's, you know, commentary that's, you know, stirring the pot. You know, like even this thing with like the Lil Nas and, you know, Boosie. You know, so it's like, yeah, like, girl, no, you need to have a mental safety, you know, when it comes to stepping into this light. And that's what they're not going to tell you, because the more that deranged that you are, the better that they can use and contort your image into any way that they want and make you think that the bad things that you're experiencing is a part of your success by saying things like any bad publicity is publicity, so it's good. And it's like, no, that should not be the case.
And that's
It
toxic.
should not be. And you know, Lego, you bring up a good point. It's like,
and that's my tech talk.
People always say, "Oh, well, you know, people have a right to their opinion and say what they want to say." It's like, yeah, you do, but do you want to be a nasty person? Like, I've never seen so many people, like, until this new world of social media, go out of their way to volunteer negative, you know, opinions about stuff, right? You know, just because this person's a celebrity, if you don't like them, you don't like them. Like, I'll honestly say, using, like, let's say Tyler Perry as an example. I know I don't really care for his television shows. So I just don't watch them. But there are people who will go watch them or not even watch them just to drag them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what fulfillment do you get out of going out of your way to spew negativity? It's a
Some people get
weird,
paid to do it.
toxic.
It's a mental health thing. It's a mental health thing.
It's a weird, toxic environment that we, as a country, as a people, Western culture, as a country, have fostered, and we make it the norm. These are the norms, not because these are how people are, right? These are the norms because as things happen, we didn't nip it in the bud, right? When the first paparazzi stormed the first celebrity and got a very invading picture, instead of us nipping that shit in the bud as a country, as a people, we said, "Ooh, I need more of that."
The girls got their line.
Fueling the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I feel like that's the crazy part. That is, it's always going to be that ever turning circle of this is the narrative. You were saying,
you
so
know,
it's like I feel like it's true. It's so many years of systematic, you know, planning to make this thing like almost damn near invincible. You were saying, because somebody's always going to say, you know, every person that has been challenged with having a gossip panel or a gossip magazine or being paparazzi, I gotta feed my kids. Oh well, he gotta feed kids, so let him continue to. No, nigga, take up a trade, because like you were saying, if your job is affecting someone's mental health, right, and we know that mental health, people can get sued for what is it called, pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just like if we're in that kind of space, yes, you doing these kinds of things and affecting people in this kind of way, even to taking pictures of their kids. You were saying, like, I wouldn't know how to, you know, maneuver. Like, I have a puppy, and I even feel nervous about showing my puppy sometimes because I'm like, bitch, well, what if? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no.
And then the
like,
bad part about it is
sometimes we give too much access.
and then the bad part about it is they back you into the corner, right? So paparazzi stormed my front yard. If I run out there and like get the fuck off my yard and I start pushing their cameras, now I'm breaking their
Now you're
property,
crazy.
and now I'm the crazy one, and I'm pressed and I'm bothered, and it's like, no, this is I don't want you here. And it also goes to tie into like these systems that you were talking about and where we place moral value, right? Because in this instance, like we were talking about earlier about a drug kingpin, we have determined that people who sell drugs to people is a deterrent, and there are laws set up to prevent them from doing that, right? Because you get people hooked on drugs that causes crime, blah 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 blah. But there's nothing against these people that cause people to have mental breakdowns. Like what responsibility does all these paparazzis have for what happened to Britney? How is it any different than
Princess
the
Diana
responsibility that Alpo has for all the people he made crackheads? Y'all made this human being whose life we should value have a mental breakdown, and y'all made money off of it. You should be held legally responsible in some shape or form. No different than if you were the doctor that gave the prohypnol to Michael Jackson. You cause this person harm and destruction. But as a country, to your point, they make money off of it. We want to live under the Second Amendment, right to freedom of speech, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, or right to feed our family, right? Wendy Williams got to be nasty on radio and television for 2 decades because they said, well, she feeding her family. It's a business. No, she's just being nasty. And we have to call that shit out.
Right. All right. So we got one more thing, and then we're going to wrap up.
I feel like you done said that 5 times.
But the conversation gets heavy and thick, so it's kind of good. So T.S. Madison has made her way to the Breakfast Club, and she did not just make her way to the Breakfast Club, just not having anything to say. She had something to say. So let's take a look.
Time to learn instead of just being so quick to say, oh, he's transphobic because she's transphobic.
Well, as long as you're making the effort to move forward, because there is transphobia and homophobia that's really rampant out there. Rampant. And it's rampant out there because people's spaces are being felt like it's threatened. Like Boosie. What is you bothering with Lil Nas X for? What's the problem? Mm-hmm. My thing is when he said that he's a detriment like to kids and we need to worry about the kids and all this stuff. But I'm like, but you the same man had a overgrown woman performing fellatio on your young son, and you didn't see anything wrong with that. But you it's make sense to me. I was so confused about the situation. Like, who kids really need to be protected?
Time to learn.
Well, first off, shout out to T.S. Madison for making it to the Breakfast Club. Kudos for her. I'm glad that's a stepping point for her. What anybody else have anything to say about what she said? I think she hit some good key points.
Can you repeat what she said?
I watched the whole interview.
Huh? What'd you say, Morgan?
No, I said I watched the whole interview. It was really good.
Okay.
I didn't watch the whole interview. I missed some points.
Basically, what she was saying is that people just need to pay attention to how they react to, and not react to, but how they just show their transphobia and their homophobia, because Boosie was coming for Lil Nas X, he said Boosie came for Lil Nas X and said that he found a problem with him because he's a problem for kids and all this other shit. But in the same tongue, he also had a woman, a stripper, perform fellatio on his child. I think for his 13th birthday. I don't know.
Yeah,
really young age. Yeah, it was a very young age. So she was just like, there's a disconnect, basically.
Pretty much calling the pot calling the kettle black, pretty much.
Yeah, that, and then some.
And she also speaks on the interview. Everything ties in my head. To what Lego said earlier about intersectionality. She spoke to the fact that she's always black and trans at the same time. So when she's fighting for black liberation, as she should, right, as black bodies, we should all be fighting for the uplift of black people because a rising tide lifts all boats. She said there's a concern with the particular segment of the black community that is LGBT because as we're marching for black rights face forward, we have our cis het straight black brothers and sisters stabbing us in the back. Like, why are you here? Well, I'm here because I'm black, right? So until going back to what I said earlier, until we try to liberate intersectionally, we're never gonna liberate. I'm sorry, Sasha, go ahead.
I don't understand why this Boosie man has not been canceled, but they want to threaten and cancel other artists when he blatantly told this artist to commit suicide. And that's like, how far do we?
Oh,
how
I can
far
tell you
does it
why.
go before they?
I think you muted Lego.
He's not muted, but we can't hear him though.
We can't hear you, Lego.
You're not muted, but we can't hear you.
Oh, Lego's saying something we can't hear.
He was going off, honey.
Crappy. While he works on his sound, I have a theory, right? So Boosie hasn't attacked white gays in a way that they feel threatened, which normally white gays are successful at canceling black men. Black people are mainly successful at canceling black women.
So the white people
success.
But if it was a white person, then he would have gotten canceled. Makes sense.
Right. So you go back to the baby, right? And the baby making a blatant statement about HIV and AIDS. Well, white gays have fought for 3 decades now against HIV and AIDS stigma. So they felt hit by that. So they went on their rampage and all these white agencies, GLAAD and all of them came out and spoke against what the baby had to say, right? But think about someone like OJ, or I mean not OJ, but Bill Cosby or R. Kelly. It took a long time to get around to canceling them because they're black men, and black people don't cancel black men very easily. But someone like Chrisette Michele can just go perform for Trump, and her career took a nosedive, yet Kanye has more money than he ever had prior to signing up along Trump. So I think that's part of it. Boosie is targeting his attacks directly at a singular black man. So because of that, because it's not generalized enough, they don't care.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay, work. What I was saying was that you have to get into the icon that is T.S. Madison. She was able to pull out so many things that literally shows how toxic masculinity and the hate for our community literally masks the other things that are literally volatile, when it comes to, how we are treated and how us living our lives, you were saying it's compared to, things like somebody that's honestly a pedophile. You paid a pedophile, right? And when she said, well, he wouldn't do that for his daughter, you got to get deep tissue into that too. You were saying you did this for your son. So it's unpacking the misogynistic, the misogyny. You were saying the toxic masculinity, the homophobia, the transphobia. You were saying, and Lil Nas X, honestly, I'm not going to hold you. What is he, like 22? To me, that's a kitten. For a kitten to have already that mindset on how to master someone like that, you can say, without ever yelling or going off on live like we saw Cardi B do in her, beginning years. And he literally just trolls this person, and it just shows that, oh, I don't see that I'm affecting you, right? So now I need to take it a notch up, because remember in the beginning it was wild, but it wasn't carrying the way that it's carrying, right? It's going to get more and more grotesque until Boosie finally gets the response that he wants from Lil Nas, which he's not going to get. So I think the main thing is him looking stupid in every post, every live and everything. And this child is just living his life. And in the meantime, you're literally unpacking the fact that, nigga, at some point, somebody's going to point at the fact that you should be in jail because the statute of limitations is not up. You know what I'm saying? And even that, we have a black man, right? And this is where, when it comes with that whole race thing, right? We have a black man where he said himself, I did this illegal crime to my son, right? For the betterment of making sure that he does not become, part of this community, right? I hate this community that much that I'm willing to put my child in a space that might traumatize him, right? Now, keep in mind, what if the child, I mean, not to say that, this is the narrative, but what if that child, not even gay, just dealt with things that made sex uncomfortable with him? You get what I'm saying? Or did we even have this conversation? How is the conversation going when your dad is trying to give you instructions on how to receive what this grown-ass woman is about to do to you? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, and not to say that the child is innocent. Maybe the child watches porn and, Boosie's like, okay, well, my child can handle this. But still, it's like, you can't say things like, oh, this is affecting, our children, when you just made it clear to who knows how many fathers and mothers that they can submit their son or their daughter to someone older to make sure that their child does not become gay. What does that mean for the lesbian girl that's having a problem with with her parents, and her parents hear, oh, well, Boosie just did this with his child. Maybe this method would work because I've tried the therapy, you know, saying, and everything else, and it's not working. Maybe this is the thing that's going to work for her. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people are not paying attention to those kinds of things, again, because this is just a movie and entertainment. They're taking with a grain of salt what's happening, because if this was someone like someone down the street that we never heard of, we would take this situation more seriously. You were saying you would have Black leaders coming up and speaking about how this is just a damp on the Black community and XYZ, but because it's him, you were saying, and this is hip hop, if you will, is being taken the way that it is, not realizing that our music really, dictates sometimes how our communities act. Hence is why I rarely see lesbian girls, that particularly the studs, getting beat up like the boys be getting beat up. You were saying, because there's certain things that our music has made cool. You know what I'm saying? And these pillars, if you will, you know what I'm saying, are honestly the reasons why our community is that way. I never seen no gay child, put out music that had everybody in the streets fucking their niggas.
Right. And what really gets me is like the conflation of, this, like how the cishet community, particularly Black cishet community, is using this quote unquote gay agenda, which can y'all hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. How the Black cishet community is using this quote unquote gay agenda, which I believe is a thing. We have an agenda. We want visibility and representation. But they're using that and conflating that with somehow their right to be hateful, right? Like T.I. came out and said, well, if Lil Nas X has a right to live in his truth, right, and not be attacked for being gay, then Boosie has a right to be hateful. Like, you're literally equating people wanting visibility and representation to the right to just be a nasty, vile person. And that's the lens at which toxic masculinity, particularly Black toxic masculinity, will go to conflate a situation so that they can continue to do what they do. And what's odd about it is, oftentimes, and I've said this even about ballroom community, is a lot of times people will do mental gymnastics to say they're not the thing that they already have claimed to hate, right? So what I mean by that is, like, you have like Trump, right? You'll say, oh, we don't want to be like him, but then you look at a community and a lot of people act just like him, with adjacency to power and negative mantras and things like that. It's kind of the same thing with these cishet Black men. They literally, like, we as a community, Black straight women and everything, we saw it during the election. They were up in arms about Trump allegedly wanting to say he touched a girl by the pussy. All of a sudden, because Trump was someone they already hated, so they could use that. But now you have someone in the community that's doing worse, and you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, right? So it brings into question your rage. It really brings into question, like, the morale code of toxic Black men and where we are as a community and what we have to do to fix that. I don't know. It's I think too, it's like T.S. Madison was saying, I think it really is a shock to the T.I.s and the Boosies of the world, who were able to make money off of very toxic behaviors and toxic language toward their own community. And now the very thing that was the most degraded, that made them the most money, is now being the most celebrated thing in hip hop.
Yeah.
How do you have 30 years of hip hop saying faggot this and don't get done in the butt, and you know all these little quippy things that so many rappers have said, all of the greats that we love, most all of them, the Jay-Z's, the Nas, and all of them have something in their music where at some point they were saying something about black women and about homosexuals. And now you have a black out gay man, and you have, on top of a black out gay man being at the top of industry, you also have black women being at the top of hip hop industry right now. So the toxic black man is feeling like, where is my place? Because I'm not Megan Thee Stallion, I'm not Cardi B, and I'm not Little Nas X. What is my place in hip hop now?
I feel like
How can I make money?
the ones who are fab have their place, and it's not going nowhere. Like you were saying,
Right.
like you're not going to tell me that Jay-Z is ever going to flop. You were saying you're not going to tell me that Fat Joe is ever going to flop. Rick Ross, these people are, Diddy, like these people have longevity. I think it's kind of like that girl that walks the ball, and her outfit was late, her technique was late, and she still felt like she was supposed to win. So she says the judges have a conspiracy against her. And I feel like that's what it's giving. Boosie thinks that it's a conspiracy, against, him, right? Like, how is this child, getting the things that, he's getting? That's the only way I can view it as, because it's like, there's been plenty of gay artists. You were saying you had nothing to say when Frank Ocean came out. You were saying you had nothing to say when what I did. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't hear anything coming from him about Saucy Santana. You were saying there's other gay artists that are coming out. It's only particularly Lil Nas X. And Lil Nas X is a particular kind of gay rapper. You were saying? So it's just like, okay, I feel like it's also that kind of like how the niggas try you in the hood and they think that they can get away with it because they see that you're gay. And I feel like that's what it's given with him. I don't think he would try this type of situation with someone who wasn't presenting as a gay rapper, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more so that, oh, you think I'm a punk, so I'm gonna try you.
Yeah, and this kind of topic, to get off of like celebrities, this kind of happened like within our community too. In my off time, I happened to browse on other apps, and it was another social app where you have like panels and discussions as such. And one of our trans sisters of our community happened to be in an argument with a cisgender man, and he happened to have his 12-year-old son in the car. Now, as he had his 12-year-old son in the car, he was like showing our trans sister, on the live, like, look at this man, look at this man, look at this man. And, our trans sister, at this point, she felt defenseless. So she was just like, she was saying her rebuttals, and she gave, like, you can suck my dick. And she was like, and your little 12-year-old son can suck my dick too. Cause she was like, that's what's wrong with you black men. You're teaching your kids to hate and like, look at me as who I am and call me a man, this and the third. So you're teaching this to them. So I don't care what I have to say about that, what I have to say. So me, honestly, I agree with her. Like, you're teaching your child this, and she just felt defensive at that time. Like that was her defense mechanism. How do you all feel about that?
I agree. I feel like the same thing Lil Nas X did when he said, fuck those kids, right? He's not saying fuck every child breathing, I don't want children to live, but it's like, if these are the kids you're telling me I'm supposed to be protecting, that you're telling to hate me, then fuck those kids. Because you conditioned them to be that way. So I don't, it's not my responsibility to uncondition them from how you're conditioning them. So fuck them.
It may sound a little harsh. It may sound a little harsh, ladies and gentlemen, coming from Ghana, but
is it? Fuck them.
It does come harsh from Ghana, but
yeah. No, it sounds about right. Like, let's be honest. You were saying,
let's be honest.
I don't make my music for y'all. I make my music for me. Like, let's be honest. This child became viral by accident.
Viral.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't come on. Like, yes, I agree with Nina Simone. If you're an artist, you are to reflect the times, right? But that doesn't mean everything that I reflect has to be for Disney Channel. You were saying, like, that's no. Right. Like, this music is for us. Okay, I made a one little cute song. Everybody, a lot of popular celebrities have that one song that's just crossover. Everybody from every genre plays it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, that's all that was. But now that he's moving into his, artistry, clearly and obviously discovering who he wants to be as an artist, you were saying, child, No, he doesn't have to be like, okay, make sure y'all go vote. Bitch, you should know that because the news is telling you that. The neighborhood is telling you that. Like, I don't need to be everything for you. And again, that goes with, with this being entertainment from the moment you show your face. You need to, adhere to the things that make a society, talk. You even saying if society agrees to it, then society agrees to it, you know.
Here's the irony of it, right? Everyone, the Boosies of the world and people that are anti-Lil Nas X and anti-LGBT are saying, what about the kids? What about the kids? Well, your kids discovered Little Nas X on the internet when you weren't watching them. So what about the kids when they were under your supervision? Had you been watching them, they would have never come across Little Nas X. Right? So it's not, you were already failing as a parent. And Boosie, we see what you do when you have your kids around. You hire prostitutes for them. So what about the kids? You're not watching them.
Wait, pause. What about the kids? You know how many dances I've seen? You know how many videos I've seen of children in diapers booty popping, doing full splits? In my opinion, that's like a level of child pornography. But that's not talked about. You were saying there's so many people that get off on shit like that. You were saying you guys think it's cute that an 11-year-old girl is grinding up on this 10-year-old boy. No. You were saying? Like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Like, allow these kids to be kids, right? But when they're listening to your music, you know what I'm saying, and they're saying those verses, you know what I'm saying, of course, it's more than just the beat. I used to say that all the time. It's just the beat. I like the beat. But no, those words actually mean something too. You know what I'm saying? If I'm giving, if all the music now with the girls is like, you need to pay me, blah, 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 what is that saying for that young girl? You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to talk about that because that music is not for that girl. You know what I'm saying? Her parent is choosing to let her listen to that. Right? So it's like artists should not be charged for what the parents are allowing their children to listen to because, they want to seem like the cool parent.
It's a free world.
Yeah. So it's
I'm going to be presumptuous here, but probably everyone on this panel, probably before the age of 12 or 13, was asked by an uncle, a mom, an auntie, or somebody, so who's your little girlfriend in school? So you were asking me about who I was liking and who I was making sure this and that. But now all of a sudden we shouldn't be teaching sexuality to kids, and children don't know what they like until they're grown, and because now there's another option. Because children are now seeing that there are options out there. So now you feel like more children are becoming gay. No, children just now know that my gayness, when the world was smaller before the internet and before we had visibility, they felt alone. And now they know that it's more of us and there's an option out there. If I feel this way, I can choose to act upon how I feel and be who I want. Right. And so that's the thing. So now all of a sudden, instead of saying let's educate around the board, now it's let's get rid of all the sex talk and everything in general. But for eons, y'all were sexualizing children.
Even misgendered.
Little play dates.
Even misgendered.
Misgendering children, sexualizing children. Like play dates is a real thing for like junior high school and stuff like that, where the parents take their little daughter and their son to the movies and let them, play on a date and stuff. I don't think, especially in my day, I could have asked my mother, can I take a boy with me to the movies, right? So what was the agenda then? It was a straight agenda being forced. And now that people see that it's something else, now they feel all offensive. Well, girl, we've been offended by your straight agenda for eons. Right. I don't want to hear. I think it's so like I was just watching an interview with what's the guy that was on Star that's a singer, the male singer. I can't think of his name. But anyway, he was doing it. He went viral a week or so ago by saying he'll let somebody eat his butt.
His name was Noah on the show.
Somebody asked a question like, will you get your butt ate? And he was like, sure, my butt stays clean, go ahead or whatever. He went by like a week or so ago. So he was doing this interview. And in the interview, you could tell it was like one of those kind of questions. They was like, so is there, a special young woman? Luke James. Is there a special woman in your life? And he's like, no, there's no one in my life or anything like that. And then the interviewer goes on to say, well, every good man needs a good woman behind him and stuff. Like, you don't think, like, how is he made to feel in that situation if he is gay or whatever the case may be, right? You kind of like backed him into a corner where either now, if he doesn't say he has a girlfriend, you're going to make the assumption that he's gay anyway, which led to that question. Because little boys and little girls that have boyfriends and girlfriends obviously don't get asked that question. I think that's a scapegoat question that a lot of aunties and uncles be asking kids in the family that they already know is, doing some other stuff. But it's those kind of like microaggressions against our community when they say that it's not violent. Asking me when you already know in the back of your head that I'm gay or I'm trans, what's going on with my girlfriend or my boyfriend and stuff like that is a microaggression because you already know. And now you're plucking with me.
So it's like rhetorical, asking a question you already know the answer to.
You know what?
But it's worse. It's an aggression.
You know what I used to think of when I was younger? Either
it's 11:11. Make a wish.
Oh wow, we're going overtime. Go ahead. Let's do our thing.
I used to think to myself, tell my parents I got a girl pregnant, tell them I got a boyfriend. Which one do I seem is more worse? And I literally would debate this for eons. Like, which one would literally be worse? If I told them that I got a girl pregnant, or if they knew I was dating the same sex. And I just couldn't get that out of my head because there was nothing that was showing me that you'd be saying, okay, well, child, if you had a boyfriend with no kids, your parents would be fine with that. But no, they probably would accept the fact, like, let's be honest. A lot of parents will probably prefer you to get the girl pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and it's like, this is just how, society is. It takes people like Little Nas. No shade. I'm not going to hold you. Years down the line, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be adapting the way that he's able to troll people. Like, this needs to be taught in classes. No shade. I feel like he has effectively done this thing in which where the way that he came out. Now, keep in mind, in the beginning, I'm thinking like him announcing this, now it's going to be a whole lot of lies of him crying about who's saying what. And the child has been trolling and being very funny at it from jump. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need more people like that also, where it's just like, okay, what else are you going to say? Because now you're literally looking like, a bigot. You're looking like an asshole.
A big bully.
Like a whole fucking fool. And soon it's going to make him realize he needs to shut up.
With that being said, prayers and shout outs and surround Little Nas X with love. Like we've been talking about with celebrities and stuff, even though he appears on surface to be doing the trolling and handling all of this very well, again, like we've been saying, stuff still takes a toll. And I'm pretty sure some of this still, he mentally has to unpack it and put on the face all the time. So everybody just wish our niece, that's my niece, I want to surround him from all the little boosies of the world because, and we probably have all done it, been a little trolly and stuff like that, or had, somebody, you feel like somebody coming for you, you say something back, a little quippy thing, a little whatever, but you still, when you get back home after the ball where the girl read you, or where the commentator said something on the mic about you, whatever, you still have to mentally unpack what was said about you. And so even though he responds to Boosie in a very comedic and well way, I know that there's still some unpacking that he has to do with that. I just hope and pray for his mental state is that he does have a person to unpack that shit with. Because it's a lot, for him to be, because he basically thrusted himself into the spotlight as the voice of the gay agenda. On a 22-year-old, like he's the voice of the gay agenda, a 22-year-old. And so I just know it has to be a lot. So Boosie, fuck you.
Yeah, so yeah. Fuck you, Boosie. So we're about to wrap up the show, but before we wrap up, like we had our special guest here, Lego. Lego has just did like a concert with one of my faves, Lakili 47, and let me see like a clip of Lego. So we all saw where Lego was for Halloween. So Lego's gonna wrap up the show with us tonight. Lego hosts OTA weekly every night, but he's just now have a new edition. It's called OTA Academy. And so I'm gonna let Lego give his due deals in what he's been doing with OTA. And I'm gonna wrap it up for the night. We've been here for a long time, girls, and the girls is giving them the stretch.
Hey y'all. No, we shot. Y'all, I am legendary Michael Javera, founder and CEO of OTA, open to all. Yeah, we just started our academy, OTA Academy. This happened this past Tuesday. It is a ballroom experience like no other. There's no other class that's giving you a live commentator and DJ, accompanied with your class. Also with our amazing icon, Professor Icon Ricky Allure. The classes are very, very effective. And I like that, from what I'm seeing is you're not being taught how to vote like someone. You're being taught how to find your inner Ush Taga. You know what I'm saying? Finding your inner femme queen, if you will. And I'm just really, really happy. OTA is also in Los Angeles, Oakland, California. Soon to spread our wings out into other facets as well. I'm just glad that this is by ballroom for the masses. You were saying I used to say by ballroom for ballroom, but let's be honest. I think we definitely need to make sure that there are entities that are taking charge and making sure that the proper things are being taught to the masses when it comes to our community, who they are and what it is. We didn't create it. We just found a very great way to deliver what is ballroom.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Times Square a little bit.
Yeah. So
I remember you from Times Square, sis.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, Times Square was dope. You were saying I'm not going to hold you. That was especially for the icons, right? But the icons coming in, a lot of them were very sentimental because it's like my sister was killed right there. We got jumped right there. I had to spend the night over here. Like you say, important to immediate locations within the space that this ball was happening. To have the news station, cover it. Shout out to ABC World News Now. That was a dope moment to see the community itself in that space with those monochromatic looks on in that light. This is what I'm striving to do for ballroom. And I'm really glad that we were able to do it, and it's officially an annual event. We are the first nightlife event to ever book a annual situation within Times Square. So, OT is out here carrying and making moves.
Congratulations.
We have the community to thank for
Congrats. Yes.
Yeah. And make sure y'all sign up to OT Academy. You would say definitely. Academy.OTA.
OT Academy.
Learn a few things. We have a few more professors coming soon.
Yes. So speaking of OTA, I was on Facebook and I saw someone said that Legend and Icon section is starting to get a little 1+1 friendly. I have noticed that as well. It's starting to become a lot of legends and icons in the scene that's just popping out up there, and I can't move. I'm up there.
Legendary status is starting to feel like Oprah's favorite things. It's very, you get a status, you get a status, you get a status. It's hard for me to keep up. People are now getting deemed upcoming legend. So that's like a great area space for me too. I think one thing that I do successfully is read. And I don't think that it's effective anymore, in my opinion, for me to consistently having to read somebody on the microphone because, there's just a system not working, right? Let's be honest, there's some nights that, there will be only 5 legends. Girl, I have like 200 people on the floor. Let them motherfuckers come up there, right? So what we start to do now in honor of the legends is right before LSS, have the legends and icons, maneuver up there first. You see what I'm saying? And then just letting it fill out because it's also a space issue now too, right? If it gave that legends and icons were out in tenfold every Monday, then yeah, right? But I don't know when the girls are coming, so it's just like okay, let's be reasonable about it. So what I've been doing too is like saving the VIP seats on the ground level. You were saying to give like if I see an icon or whatever, like okay, girl. Come and get your 1-2s. Come and get your 1-2s. But yeah, that's why there's no more lip lounge. It just a headache that didn't need to be there.
Wow. R.I.P. to the.
Well, I have a question. I'm okay with that headache not necessarily being there because I'll make my way to the front if I need to. But I was at OTA, as I had the pleasure of visiting frequently, more, little less now than I used to, but I've been a follower and a fan of OTA since you really kind of started, and give
I
you so
appreciate
many
you.
kudos and things on what you're doing for the community. It's necessary. You're necessary, and what you're doing is necessary. With that being said,
However,
so this past weekend, or this past week, or no, this week actually, I was there, and over the microphone, Snooki made the announcement that we would not be chopping the Virgin runway and the Virgin performances. So, two-part question. What made you decide to make that decision for OTA, number one? And number two, do you think it's in long term doing a disservice when we're not chopping, when people are actually going up for a trophy that they can potentially add to a resume and they can potentially get through for a whole year never getting chopped? And now they can brag that I've been getting my 10s at OTA and I possibly have been winning, when really I probably should have been chopped the whole time.
What I love about OTA is I set up OTA in which where it's open for anybody to try and do anything, right? So hence is why we'll have nights where we'll see the icon Ricky walking beginner's runway, right? That's what OTA is supposed to be, for you to try out new things, right? When it comes to the beginners category, the reason why we don't allow, or the reason why I don't allow chops anymore is, one, for me teaching, right? There's two things about performance, right? You're going to learn how to get your 10s and you're going to learn how to battle, right? I strongly feel that, it's more effective on a weekly event, you know what I'm saying, in which where, not that many beginners performance girls come like that, in my opinion, right? But a lot of times the line sometimes is vastly long. It gets the line through quicker, but then two, it's given like, child, these girls cannot handle that. But what I find, and I love, I'm not going to hold you, I love it. There's girls who definitely, got their 10s. I mean, in this case, were able to battle and everything. And then when you graduate to the actual performance category or the actual runway category, now it's a step up. You know what I'm saying? Now you're getting chopped, right? I want to give you as much experience as you can as a beginner and giving you that free space to actually, start the category off with a 10s battle, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And then getting that experience of actually battling. I feel like we have to, if it's going to be beginners, there has to be some type of thing that makes it different from the regular performance category, right? Because if the girls can get chopped, you know what I'm saying, then just have performance all night. You see what I'm saying? Like the Vogue is definitely different. And then we also go from, okay, well, this girl was voguing late, but she was comical, so she can get through. This girl was serving it, but then she slipped, so she gets chopped, right? Those politics should not be applied to beginners categories. And I feel like sometimes they are. So that's why, I have a soft spot for my beginners girls, and they're able to, just get their 10s. Not even so much to get their 10s. It's always straight to battles with them.
Can I have a follow-up, or does anyone else before I follow up?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, and maybe just the timing of it. Or I'll have a statement, probably kind of statement questioning, right? So part of what I've been seeing now in ballroom is like this gradual like watering down or making easy the process of ballroom. At the end of the day, ballroom is a competitive arena. It is a hierarchical thing where you're supposed to earn your status throughout the way by doing the work. And over the years, we've seen that get easier and easier. And maybe that's why, from my vantage point, it's almost like giving a trophies for just because you showed up and you tried, right? I think, and I had this conversation with someone. I think if the virgin categories at your ball or anyone's ball where they're not chopping wasn't for a trophy at the end, and we were just truly letting them practice, that would be one thing. But when you're going up for the actual trophy at the end to say that you accomplished something, but you could have potentially not had the qualifications to accomplish it, it's almost like, oh, I want to be in the spelling bee, but I missed my first word. But I'm younger than the other speller, so can you still just let me continue to be in the spelling bee? It's like, no, but this is the competition now. You decided to have the audacity, right? Because when I came from in ballroom, you had to have audacity to get on that floor. You had to be like, bitch, okay, tonight's the night. Everyone's going to be looking at me. All eyes on me. I'm under these coveted lights. And are we now making it easier for everyone to just go out there with whatever talent, whether it matches up or not, and say, hey, well, pat on the back, you showed up. When in life, right, ballroom to me is a breeding ground for life as well. Life does not give people, especially people who look like us, right? The other people that come to ball sometimes that look like this, life may make it easy for them. But life doesn't just hand us and say, hey, you showed up for people who look like us. So are we also not even teaching our next generation of LGBT youth the right lessons by saying, hey, you get to get applause and people clapping for you just for you showing up?
Yeah, I think at first, I think that would, well, one thing I think when it comes to OTA, because we're a weekly event, you're not getting deemed for what you're doing at OTA. You're saying you're getting popular, you're getting your name out there, and that's the very much purpose of it, right? And I think that's also one of the special things that make OTA unique. If I had a major ball, you know what I'm saying, and I decided to do beginner's performance, you know what I'm saying, I probably would more so allow it to be a situation where, you know, you can get chopped, because this is, you know, the big leagues, right? A mini ball situation, this is very much like when we say OTA is practice, this is that definition of that, right? But only when it comes to those two categories. I don't believe there's so many.
I think you're undermining yourself, Lego.
No, there's so many things when it comes to, you know, what I hope that my influence changes in ballroom, right? And there's just some things in which where, you know, I'm just gonna do because it's like, well, you know, it's my event. It's not the intent,
it's your thing.
To yeah, it's not the intent to change the fabric of, but this ball needs to feel like a mini ball. And as you've seen as of lately, there's been some times where we've had some intense moments, right? Not for the babies, right? In my opinion, I feel like that should need that level of judgment needs to be reserved when you step into that actual, you know, category. But that's only for OTA, right? I don't feel like, you know, you should automatically get tens if it's for a coin. We don't even give the girls the beginner's performance girl a coin, because I feel like, why am I paying you on something that you're learning to do? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why we have those things aligned. And the other thing too is one of the number one fears amongst the human race is stage fright, right? It's not just a situation of them learning their craft. It's also them getting accustomed to being in that kind of space as well. That's why I have the beginners categories going that way. But yeah, I mean, and then of course, thank God we have OTA.
No, so
you know, so.
And I agree with you, and you know, honestly, I think so. A couple things I really want to unpack, and this is kind of a kudos to you, right? I think that it's great. Your intent behind what you're doing is great, and you know, I've told you since day one. I may not always agree with how you lay out your OTA, but Uncle's going to be here, and I'm going to support you and provide my words of wisdom as much as I can. I think that you're undermining the power and the influence of OTA. And when I say that to say, at one point in time, battle balls were just mini balls. Rumble balls were just mini balls. But here we are 15, 20 years later, and we have deemed people off of what they did at those functions. I think your intent is for OTA to be a small breeding ground for new talent and X, Y, and Z. But I can guarantee you that in 7 to 10 years, we will be deeming someone based off the work that they did at your ball. And with history being our better teacher, that's my concern. Do we have the next rumble balls or, you know, that next era of girls that are about to once again slide into their status because of the work that they did at your OTA and on their clips versus what they did at a major ball? So that's so it's not that. So I want you to know it's not really just me looking at OTA. It's looking at OTA as it relates to other events past that were kind of structured in the same way, and what was the ramification of that structure in ballroom.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too. I've realized that especially with me having OTA can easily, at this point, swerve into a monopoly, right? The places where you're having your weekly event in your city, trust me, about 5 of your icons, 10 of your legends have messaged me to have a ball there, right? And my mindset, even with, like, say, for instance, commentator versus commentator, for years, people weren't pumping that category. You're saying OTA started doing it, and then girls started doing it at their balls. So I do definitely understand, not so much on it being just OTA, this is also OTA in New York City, right? So there are going to be some things that the girls follow. Like, for instance, the reason why everybody uses Vogue Nights, because Vogue Nights is not just the name of event, which it is supposed to be. They literally call a weekly mini ball a Vogue Night. You were saying, as a description of a mini ball, right? So what I try to make sure I do with OTA is, one, make sure that we're not moving in a space in which where we have that much influence, right? And that's why I'm very stern on those particular kinds of things, where it's like, if you're deeming this child for what she did in beginner's performance, where I feel like no one should, I mean, you pay attention to that, but that shouldn't be a thing, right? Then it's the person that's deeming them that needs to be checked. Not so much you be saying that person that's walking. You be saying it's no, you need to be checked for your reasons that you are deeming this person, legendary. You know what I'm saying? And why is this person being allowed to do so? So I don't think it's so much the venue space. I think it's more so people being checked and being more stricter on how we, deem people and the reasons why, we're deeming them, and not coming up with these, minute reasons like a beginner's performance. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that one time she, did that amazing, did that everybody used. Okay, that's fine. But girl, what did she do when she got actually in the scruffle with everyone else? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I do, Uncle, making sure that that's a tone. There's a lot of things that people have offered for OT that could have put us in that monopoly space. But it's like, no, I want to feel like, bitch, when I go to Chicago's ballroom scene, I don't feel like it's an OTA. I want to know, like, okay, there's a certain way that they move over here. There's a certain way that Atlanta move. There's a certain way that Texas move. There's a certain way that Jersey, Boston move. And just making sure that OT is not in that and staying in its proper lane as a mini ball series, right? Yes, we're going to do major balls or whatever, but when we get into the spaces to do major balls, that's why I'm in the NYC New Jersey Alliance, because I will be adhering to what my alliance is saying. You see what I'm saying? To making sure that, okay, I want to do Verge just get tens at at one of our major balls. You were saying only for the mini ball series we would do that, but that's just something that's just a feature, just like the pre-show with OTA. And then the winner of our beginners performance category gets free access to OTA Academy the following day.
Awesome.
Shout out to OTA.
Because people's been asking me that. So thank you for asking me that question. I appreciate it.
No, it's a really good question. And, I'm never coming at you. I just, because some of the things I already kind of know, but I want to pull it out to you so other people can hear it as well. You touched on some really good points about monopolizing and things of that nature. And, to the point that I was making about previous mini ball institutions, they became monopolized where now I can deem people specifically from my events. And I just wanted people to get a feel of you as a person, that's not your intent. Your intent isn't to become, Lego the Deemer, and I'm deeming this whole slew of girls after me. So of course they're gonna, because we know how absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so as your uncle, as someone who's here for you, I'm gonna always keep my foot on your neck to make sure that power isn't corrupting the person that I know you are and for what you're trying to do at OTA. So
yeah, most definitely. Like right now, I live on the same street of the shelter that I used to that I lived in for a year and a half. It's 5 blocks down, right? So I'm consistently, humbled in this space, and I definitely don't want, that's too much pressure for me, too much pressure for my team. You know, saying sometimes my commentators say shit that's off the wall. I don't need us that big. You were saying, because I don't need damage control to be that big. I want to still be effective where I can get on a live. You were saying do some damage control and call it a day. But then it's also pushing people to also do things that OTA is doing. Like you were saying, like the only reason OTA is the way that it is literally because I just tapped into people that I feel like were being overlooked. And then on top of that, I made sure I had genuine connections with people. right? And I think when people come to OTA, on top of the drinks, on top of the social hour, there's a certain level of when Lego's pissed, it's because, not because he's feeling it, but you literally just did something. Now he's going to drag it for the next 10 minutes on the microphone before we can continue the ball, you know? I don't look to embarrass the girls or anything like that too. So I feel like there's a certain reason why not just me, the team is also being impactful, but then there is a dial back. This is just a mini ball, Miss Thing. Don't be, applying these little mini ball features to your major ball because it's not going to translate well.
Well, we thank you for that, and we thank you for the breakdown of OTA. This is very, very good knowledge and everything for us. We really appreciate it. Once again, Gunna, we done it again. Another 2-hour show.
2 hours and 25 minutes. Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 25 minutes.
I can only imagine what Sunday is going to be like after we go to Virginia.
I can only imagine as well.
Shout out to the legendary Bugs and Ricci.
Yes.
Bringing back the things. VA is going to be popping this weekend.
Yes. So, yes.
I wish I could be there.
So, yes, before we close out, make sure that you're in Virginia this weekend. It is the VA Take Me Back Ball. Femme Queen Sex Siren is for $1,200. And the first ever $1,000 Butch Queen Up in Drag's performance. It's only 9 of them hoes. So we ready to see them show out and shake down. It's going down November 6th in VA. I'll be there. Gonna be there. You coming?
I want to be there so bad, but y'all know I got my OTA things to do. But I sent all my love and my positive vibes to the legend. And thank you, Bugs, for always showing up and being a support. Bugs, Gillette, Gunna, and that's the other thing too. I just wanted to piggyback. That's why OTA works, because I activate my girls. My girls really do show up. Gunna started helping out OTA in the beginning with the Tishi gentleman, and I'm always going to be forever grateful for that. Gillette, when I was doing Bigo, and I would call Gillette 5 minutes before the Bigo ball.
Yeah.
Like, can you judge? And she always pulled up. So I appreciate y'all for supporting me. OTA is thriving because of the help that it's getting, and I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I love OTA, and I love the drinks.
It's an amazing event. And if you're listening and you're in New York on a Monday night, and you want your good stirring cocktail, even if ballroom is not necessarily your thing, there's a patio, there's a whole guest section.
They have
a really has a great venue and lays it out. I mean, I can tell you, and I've told you this, Lego, I've been doing ballroom now for double-digit years, and there's no one really right now that has a venue set up like you have. There's, it's an amazing space. It's great. It's a great fun time. The energy, for the most part, it's always good. Over the last 2 years, we've had a scuffle here and there, but for the most part, people know when they come there, they're coming there with the intent to have a good time, to wind down from the weekend and get ready to start their week. So y'all definitely support the nephew, Lego. You're going to have a great time, trust me. And those cocktails are going to do what the fuck they need.
Yes, they are.
To do.
Yes,
one frozen drink is all you need.
Baby.
And if it melts,
one frozen drink, Lego. I must apologize to any virgins since we just had this conversation. Any virgin who may have heard themselves get chopped on someone's live from this past weekend, it was me in the lip section chopping the girls because, the liquid service, that drink had me feeling like, no, girl, it's a chop for you. So I want to apologize. We're going to accept the virgins without chopping them from now on. But no, it's a great thing that you do for the community, Lego. Congratulations on all that you do.
Yes. So that's going to be a wrap for us tonight here on Tea Time. We're going to try to be here Sunday for you because me and Gunnar is going to be in VA. At the VA. Take me back.
In Ball.
Yes. And Gunner's going to be in the Tahoe, and I think I'm going to be in the Kia Soul or something. We were in some child. I'm riding down or something. But yeah. So thank you once again.
And I got a full truck.
It's full already? Oh wow, you're gonna have a great ride down. Very of interest. So yes, thank you, Lego, for being here with us tonight. It's always a pleasure, and we hope to have you back here for tea and crumpets. Gonna thank you once again. We held it down for 2.5 hours, but I got things to do. Let me bring Sasha back up so she can say her goodbyes. Thank you, Lego, so much.
Bye, Lego. Bye, Lego.
Yes, so we're about to end it out. Love you all dearly. Sasha, give your goodbyes.
I give my goodbyes. But what's hot in music right now before we go is the color blocking, the prints, the stitching, the half stitching, meaning half of the jacket for the men and for the girls. It's half of it's leather, half of it's trench. The music that's gonna be hot coming out is Summer Walker this Friday. Meek Mill's album is already out. French Montana has some projects coming out and more other artists. But we love you guys and we'll see you on Sunday.
Love y'all. Mwah.
Peace.